Chapter 275. Re-entering perceived truth. Danteon mutates _3 In an instant, the disciples hovering around shuddered violently, as if they were being stared at by a peerless, fierce beast. Their whole bodies felt cold, and their hearts were filled with intense shock and fear. They knew they kept a considerable distance so as not to disturb Lu Yun's breakthrough. But even so, they were still deterred by Lu Yun's imposing presence. Just how strong has Lu Yun become? Can I really never catch up with him? Bai Haoxuan clenched his fists, unwillingly saying. It took him only 3 years to advance from mid-stage Meridian Passage realm to transforming Origin realm after entering the Martial Academy. During the 3 years, he consecutively broke through 2 major realms. Such a terrifying cultivation speed was not far behind those top heavenly prides of Ling Province. However, now someone who was far less than him in the past had left him far behind. Gradually, the sword light converged, the fluctuations of heavenly and earthly spiritual energy disappeared, and Star Peak returned to its original calm. All the anomalies vanished completely. Lu Yun was still sitting cross-legged in midair. The smooth and friendly night breeze lightly brushed through his hair, revealing the more handsome and mature face in front of everyone. Sister, not only is senior brother Lu Yun becoming more and more powerful, he's also getting more and more handsome. In the crowd, a petite and cute girl with a delicate and pretty appearance shouted excitedly. Her bright eyes sparkled, and crystal drool at the corners of her rosy lips. Next to her was a beautiful and charming girl with bright eyes and white teeth. These two were Chen Menghan and Chen Yaowei. At this time, the 2 sisters were wearing star robes and were already listed as disciples of the Star Palace. After hearing her sister's words, Chen Yaowei secretly nodded and thought, "My sister and I truly have telepathy. It seems that I need to speed up that matter." However, Lu Yun has just made a breakthrough, so I'll wait for some more time. Then, Yi Xingchen signaled Chen Tianyun behind him, and with a flash, he disappeared into the sky above Star Peak. With a flash of golden light around him, Chen Tianyun appeared in the air, looking at the disciples of the Star Palace, and said indifferently, "All of you disperse. Those who need to cultivate should cultivate, and those who need to rest should rest. Don't disturb Lu Yun in consolidating his realm." For Elder Chen Tianyun's words, the disciples naturally did not dare to disobey and left quickly. As for the external events, Lu Yun was very clear about them in his heart but ignored them. His attention was focused on his own panel. Name: Lu Yun. Authority: Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Cultivation Technique: Pure Yang Martial Cannon. Transforming Origin Chapter. Perceive Truth. Astonishing Wind Saber Manual. 4th Level. Breaking Extreme 100%. Life Destruction Saber Techniques. 1st Level. One Strike Ends Sins 100%. Wind Thunder Manual. 2nd Level. 3000 Thunder Movement. 16%. Innate Talent. Level 8 Martial Arts. Peak of Transforming Origin Realm. The limit of current realm. Energy Value: 22848, automatically increase by 4 each day. Conception: Slaughter Conception, 3rd rank 35%. Skill: Level 4 Alchemy Technique, 81%. Talent: White Lotus Flame, Level 3 51%. Just as he expected, after breaking the limit of Pure Yang Martial Cannon Origin Transformation Chapter, his harvest was quite gratifying. Firstly, his innate talent underwent another transformation, becoming a level 8 innate talent. Secondly, the accumulation speed of energy value increased from 2 per day to 4 per day. Thirdly, his martial arts realm was promoted from the peak of transforming origin realm to the extreme level, and there was no further progression possible in his current realm. Lastly, due to the mutation of his Danteon, his body underwent a metamorphosis. Even the white lotus flame fused in his blood advanced. Its progress improved from level 31% to 51%. Chapter 276. The 22nd floor of the Wanhua Tower, Battle in the Starry Sky. It's not a gold body, but it's quite similar. Lu Yun could feel the power inside his flesh, the golden bones as unyielding as steel. Golden blood flowed with a heat like lava, his entire body resembling a gigantic furnace containing astonishing power. Within the dantian in his body, there was a mutated dantian with pure yang strong origin flowing, emanating a shocking aura. At this moment, Lu Yun truly understood what a supreme foundation was. Compared to before, his physical strength had increased by 2 levels. The pure yang strong origin had advanced by no less than 4 levels. Lu Yun felt that after stepping into the extreme level, he could easily crush his former self. Especially his blood transformation, after turning completely golden, his physical strength had become several times stronger than before. With just his body, he could resist the once powerful golden Ho beast. Moreover, I'm still at the transforming origin realm. Once I break through to the origin fluid realm, my physical strength will increase again. At that point, even a 6th-rank demon beast wouldn't necessarily have stronger flesh than mine. Lu Yun's eyes flickered uncertainly. As for 6th-rank demon beasts and martial artists at the Golden Body Realm, he had not truly experienced them, so he couldn't completely guarantee it. However, he was certain that his current self shouldn't be weaker than those who had just entered the Golden Body Realm. As for exactly how strong, he would only know when he actually fought. Thereafter, Lu Yun checked the panel and saw more than 20,000 energy values remaining. My physical body is almost at the same level as martial artists in the Gold Body Realm, but my speed probably isn't as good. After realizing this, Lu Yun had a plan for the remaining energy values. Suddenly, Lu Yun made up his mind and began a new round of upgrades. The enhancement of the pure yang martial arts canon was violent and long-lasting, while increasing strong origin and refining and improving the physical body. The promotions of combat-oriented cultivation techniques like the Wind Thunder Manual and Astonishing Wind Saber Manual were mild and fast, increasing perception. As the energy values were quickly consumed, the 3000 Thunder movement was upgraded swiftly. Lu Yun's mind once again saw a gray figure resembling himself. This figure was training in the windy and thundery evening. 1 month. Half a year. 1 year. Suddenly, one day, the figure had refined the 3000 Thunder movement to an incredible level. He was surrounded by a realm of thunder, moving as fluidly and effortlessly as air. In the blink of an eye, he had reached an altitude of 10,000 feet. Boom! The sky and earth changed color, becoming intertwined with purple thunderbolts. At the same time, Lu Yun was enveloped by the violent purple thunderbolts, turning him into something akin to a thunder god. The 3000 Thunder movement has reached perfection. Lu Yun's heart stirred slightly and his mind landed on the panel again. Name: Lu Yun. Power: Flying Spirit Martial Academy Cultivation Technique. Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon, Transforming Origin Chapter, Perceive Truth, Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, Level 4, Breaking Extreme 100%, Life Destruction Saber Techniques, Level 1, One Strike Ends Sins 100%, Wind Thunder Manual, Level 2, 3000 Thunder Movement, Perfection 100%. Innate Talent, Level 8 Martial Arts, Transforming Origin Realm Peak Energy Value, 12752, automatically increases by 4 per day. Conception, Slaughter Conception, 3rd rank 35%. Thunder Conception, 1st rank 14%. Skill, Level 4 Alchemy Technique, 81%. Talent, White Lotus Flame, 3rd rank 51%. As expected, there is now Thunder Conception. That is to say, as long as I continue to upgrade the Wind Thunder Manual, I will eventually comprehend the Wind Intent. Martial Arts Conception. Generally, martial artists with good talents could comprehend a martial arts conception at the Transforming Origin Realm or Origin Fluid Realm, and that was already their limit. Now, he had to Moreover, both slaughter conception and thunder conception were special conceptions which were more powerful than ordinary martial arts conceptions. Just thinking about it excited him. Lu Yun looked at the remaining over 10,000 energy values. Upgrade the White Lotus Flame to level 4 as well. The White Lotus Flame possessed great power in group battles. After upgrading, he could refine his body again and, at the same time, greatly aid in alchemy. Upgrade. Energy values were quickly consumed, and Lu Yun felt his body burning. The White Lotus Flame completely merged with the blood and flesh in his body. When it was upgraded, the impurities in the flesh and blood were purified once again, invisibly increasing Lu Yun's physical strength and vitality. Panel. Name. Lu Yun energy value. 8752, automatically increases by 4 per day. Talent. White Lotus Flame, level 41%. Lu Yun looked at the panel and saw that there were still over 8,000 energy values left, his eyebrows furrowing. The Pure Yang Martial Cannon Origin Transformation chapter had reached its limit, and the next level was the Origin Fluid chapter. However, each upgrade of the Pure Yang Martial Cannon would cause great movement, and since he had just broken through, attempting an upgrade now would probably cause even greater disturbances. Should I upgrade the Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, or the Life Destruction Saber techniques? For a moment, Lu Yun was caught between two choices. No matter, I still need to find another unarmed combat cultivation technique anyway. I'll leave these energy values for now. After this transformation, Lu Yun's physical body was comparable to a 5th-rank peak demon beast, so he naturally needed to make good use of it. On the second day, Lu Yun came to the task hall to hand in the task. The first task was to help Cloud Water County resist the demon beast attack, with a reward of 10,000 contribution points. The second task was rescuing Meng Hongfei and Qin Yun. Since only he completed the task alone, the reward increased to a total of 20,000 contribution points. Chapter 277, Myriad Phenomena Towers 22nd Floor, Battle in the Starry Sky _2 with the previous 330 contribution points he had left, Lu Yun now had a total of 33,330 contribution points. I can get some more contribution points at the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Lu Yun mumbled to himself. His figure flashed and flew directly towards the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Thunderbolts erupted, leaving the surrounding Martial Academy disciples dumbfounded. Holy shit, I actually caught a glimpse of the real Lu Yun. That speed is terrifying. The 21st floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. This space was still on a cliff's peak. Lu Yun stood on a piece of bluestone, his face expressionless as he looked at the white mist that lingered above the canyon. If I remember correctly, that guy appeared from this place. As soon as he spoke, the thick mist suddenly churned violently, quickly transforming into a white-clothed youth. Except for his mature appearance, his demeanor and appearance were not much different from Lu Yun's. The two faced each other from a distance, making eye contact. You're here again. I just don't know how long you can last this time. The white-clothed youth's eyes were cold and his voice indifferent, devoid of any emotion. However, judging from his words, the other party clearly still remembered Lu Yun. It must have some spiritual intelligence and memory. Just one move will do, Lu Yun said with a faint smile, and the dragon scale saber appeared out of thin air as he extended his right hand. Last time, when his slaughter conception reached 80% of the first rank, he passed the 20th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, but was instantly killed by the opponent as soon as he entered the 21st floor. He had always remembered this grudge. In that case, I'm looking forward to it. At last, the white-clothed youth's expression showed some emotion as his cloud mist surged, forming a long saber that looked similar to the dragon scale saber. Heh! Lu Yun sneered as he gripped the saber handle, and the blood-red lotus seat in his sea of consciousness began to tremble violently. The 3 petals flickered wildly, releasing an endless slaughter conception that caused the gray mist swirling around to agitate even more. Nearly at the same time, Lu Yun's aura soared, enveloping the peak of the cliff with a thick blood-red mist, which instantly swept away the sky, clouds, and starlight. All that remained were countless killing intents, transforming into blood-red giant hands that lunged towards the white-clothed youth. What a powerful slaughter conception! The white-clothed youth's face changed, and his figure quickly retreated while dodging the probing blood-red giant hands. At the same time, slaughter conception reinforced his long saber, and a bright red saber glow began to spray and extend. Swipe! A blood-red radiance pierced through the sky, as if the entire bloody world was oppressing everything around, erasing and crushing it all. Is this your strongest technique? Lu Yun had a thought in his mind, and the blood-red sea surrounding him surged. Countless blood-red giant hands began to close together, forming a giant claw that caught the white-clothed youth's saber glow in one grab. Crack! Not only did Lu Yun's slaughter conception rank higher than his opponent's, but it was also more unique. So it easily broke his attack without any effort. Lu Yun moved, feeling the pressure from the entire 21st floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower's space, and integrated all his experiences in saber cultivation and slaughter conception into the dragon-scale saber. A standard slaughter conception with a relatively low peak rank, only second rank. An enhanced slaughter conception, already at 30% third rank. TSK. When the two blood-red realms collided, the white-clothed youth's long saber clearly paused, seemingly due to some invisible pressure. But Lu Yun's dragon-scale saber, wrapped by the power of this atmosphere, bore down directly. Boom! The space trembled slightly as the white-clothed youth and the long saber in his hand were both submerged. 21st floor. Cleared. Even if our slaughter conception were at the same level, you would still be no match for me. Lu Yun smiled. The improvement of the panel is a comprehensive upgrade, without any blind spots. You represent the standard slaughter conception, but the standard often means ordinary. Actually, it's not just in slaughter conception that I'm crushing you, or it's the same with your physical body. If it weren't for the suppression of his dantian, the crushing would have been even more excessive. Smiling, Lu Yun immediately flew upwards, entering the vortex portal above. On the Myriad Phenomena Square, many Martial Academy disciples stared at the name that suddenly popped up on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall in shock. They saw a shining golden name constantly rising, finally stopping in the 7th place. Prior to this, Lu Yun had been anonymous, with rank beyond 108th on the list. Now, he had surpassed almost 100 people in one go. There were just too many disciples trapped on the 20th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Higher up, there were even fewer who could pass. As it now stood, the best record was only the 25th floor. And this record included all the genius disciples' records from the establishment of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy to the present. Lu Yun had only entered the Martial Academy for just over 3 years, and had already passed the 21st floor. This speed far exceeded the scope of a genius. The 22nd floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Star space. Lu Yun floated in midair in the 22nd floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, feeling quite dreamy. That was because the ground had disappeared, replaced by an endless starry sky. With his dantian suppressed, he shouldn't be able to use his aura origin to levitate. As Lu Yun was amazed, a shooting star quickly flew by, trailing a long fiery tail. Seeing this, Lu Yun's eyes slightly darkened as he secretly prepared himself. Chapter 278. Battle in the Starry Sky on the 22nd floor of Myriad Phenomena Tower _3 Boom. A meteor halted just in front of Lu Yun, its radiance fading to reveal its true form. Is this a meteorite? Lu Yun stared at the floating meteorite before him and thought, is this my opponent, or will my opponent spring from this meteorite? Though it was a wild conjecture, it didn't mean it was impossible. As his cultivation improved, climbing higher in the Myriad Phenomena Tower, he realized that things were not as simple as they seemed. Suddenly, the floating meteorite illuminated with a brilliant light, turning into a youth wearing a blue robe, bearing a facial resemblance to Lu Yun by 70 to 80%. Moreover, the blue-robed youth had a faint smile on his face, unlike the stiff and rigid white-robed youth he encountered on the 21st floor. Young man, you've done well to reach this point with your transforming origin realm cultivation. I hope you continue to strive and pass my test. The blue-robed youth's voice was gentle, his eyes smiling as he looked at Lu Yun. It felt odd, as if his future self was evaluating his present self. Don't worry, I won't disappoint you. Boom. The golden blood in Lu Yun's body roared as his momentum soared to its limit. Facing this blue-robed youth, he had to be fully focused, even resorting to using his physical body. So that's how it is. The blue-robed youth held out his right hand, and endless starlight gathered behind him, forming a silver-white long saber. Immediately after, the smile on his face faded, a flash of crimson appeared in his eyes, and the entire starry sky turned dark red, with countless blood-red vines stretching out like serpents, coiling and extending around them. Lu Yun, standing in the distance, unleashed his third-rank slaughter conception. In the surrounding starry sky, giant blood-red hands swayed. Without making a move, the two just released their slaughter conception, and the starry space where they stood changed accordingly. Boom! Boom! The two spreading domains collided, creating a blood-red world filled with killing intent. Rumble! Their auras clashed, countless killing intents colliding, either you overpowering me or me overpowering you. Your slaughter conception is somewhat unique, but am already at the third-rank peak, far above you. The blue-robed youth pointed at Lu Yun and said, Go! Whoosh! A blood-red sword chi condensed from killing intent shot straight at Lu Yun. Humph! Just because your realm is high doesn't mean you're necessarily strong. Lu Yun was confident that he could compete with the opponent using just his slaughter conception, and with his powerful physical body, he should have no trouble passing through. However, if I want to win quickly, I can't avoid close combat. Lu Yun's eyes shone, and the surrounding blood-red domain trembled slightly, accompanied by a rumbling sound. As his figure flickered, a dragon scale sword emitted a dragon-chanting sound, and a condensed sword radiance bloomed, breaking the opponent's sword chi and slashing relentlessly forward. Chirp! Chirp! The two brushed past each other. The forces they drew from heaven and earth created razor-sharp sword chi that collided, annihilating everything. As the killing intent domains collided, those blood-red hands and vines entangled and tore at each other. Clang! Clang! Their figures flickered continuously in the starry sky, each clash accompanied by a violent tremor. You can't stop me! After more than a dozen rounds, Lu Yun stopped holding back, bursting out with his full might. Assisting the dragon scale saber with the power of heaven and earth within this space, he directly pressed the attack. It's futile. Your strength is close to mine, but still somewhat inferior. To suppress me, you'll need more practice. To defeat or kill me, you'll need at least another 2 years. The blue-robed youth urged his slaughter conception, gathering the domain of killing intent behind him onto his long saber, countering Lu Yun's attack. I won't need that much time. With an indifferent expression, Lu Yun activated the power of his physical body. He resisted the opponent's third-rank peak slaughter conception with his own, overpowering him with physical strength. Phew! With Lu Yun and the dragon scale saber leading the charge, the awe-inspiring power resembled a giant grinding stone, pressing down and shattering the blue-robed youth's blade light. The vines that had risen around him were also thoroughly crushed. How can this be? The blue-robed youth's face changed. Lu Yun's outburst completely exceeded his expectation. Not only was the third-rank peak slaughter conception unable to suppress Lu Yun, but it was being suppressed instead. In that case, let's die together. The blue-robed youth realized he had underestimated his opponent and became ruthless and decisive, no longer as composed as before. The killing intent that had filled the area for dozens of feet began to contract and condense nearly instantaneously, turning into a huge sword light, emitting the ultimate scarlet glow, bursting with ferocity and an extreme thirst for slaughter. Break for me! Lu Yun held the dragon scale saber with both hands, injecting his powerful strength and terrifying slaughter conception into the blade. With a forceful shout, he provoked the surrounding space's pressure, even drawing in the power of heaven and earth to aid his strike. This one slash, filled with dominance and ferocity, was incredibly powerful and swift as lightning. It fell directly on the sword light. Sizzle! 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 Lu Yun seemed to be hit by countless sword chi, his body surface rippling with streaks of golden light. Obviously, these scattered sword chi hadn't broken through Lu Yun's defenses, but his figure still retreated several meters. However, in the last moment, his final strike had already been launched. Rumble! Blood light burst forth, killing intent surged, and the sword light formed from the condensed ultimate killing intent was crushed and shattered. Chirp! 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 Without losing momentum, the saber fell rapidly, and the overwhelming might engulfed the blue-robed youth. Finally, the blue-robed youth's body was cleaved in two, turning into two meteorites with flickering starlight, disappearing into the starry sky. Myriad Phenomena Tower's 22nd floor passed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Starlight surged and a space ripple appeared overhead, forming a massive vortex portal. The 23rd floor, here I come. A smile crossed Lu Yun's face, and he skyrocketed into the vortex portal without hesitation. Chapter 279. My battle style is pretty rough on the 23rd floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Lu Yun looked at the meteorite floating in front of him. The higher we go in the Myriad Phenomena Tower, the more difficult it is to pass. The opponent on the previous floor had a third-rank peak slaughter conception, so this floor's opponent might be even more terrifying. With his powerful physical body, he could suppress the previous opponent, but he wasn't confident against this unknown enemy. That was because the meteorite floating in front of him was much larger than the previous one, and the starlight emanating from it was much more intense. The starlight became more and more abundant, and the huge meteorite began to flip and transform. Chi! Chi! In an instant, the meteorite transformed into a handsome young man in front of Lu Yun, who appeared in a flash of countless starlight gathered together to form a silver-white robe. This silver-white robe had star power flowing through it, sparkling with dazzling luster, clearly not an ordinary garment. The starlight continued to surge and recondensed into a silver-white long saber. To attempt the 23rd floor with less than 4 to 0% of the third-rank slaughter conception, you are outstanding. Among the current disciples of Flying Spirit Martial Academy, only one person has successfully passed it so far, said the silver-robed youth, grabbing the long saber condensed from starlight with a hint of a smile in his eyes. I'm going to strike now, be careful. The silver-white long saber in the hands of the purple-robed youth suddenly emitted thousands of saber lights, and a monstrous killing intent churned around him. Lu Yun also activated his slaughter conception at the same time, and the potent saber light and countless killing intents spread out to the surroundings, immediately triggering the heavenly and earthly forces within this starry space. The starlight dimmed, and the starry river changed color. Merely an instant, a vast space filled with killing intent formed around them both, as if a peerless battlefield had suddenly emerged amidst the stars. Boom! The silver-robed youth stepped forward, wrapped in a vast domain, and slammed into it with a crashing boom. Lu Yun's killing intent domain began to collapse, while the silver-robed youth's killing intent domain expanded rapidly. Not good! Lu Yun's face changed. He transformed into a streak of light and rushed towards the silver-robed youth with the dragon scale saber in hand. His body flickered with golden light as his powerful physical body clashed with the silver-robed youth's killing intent domain. Shichikachichi! There were continuous breaking sounds as Lu Yun's figure closed in on the enemy. The silver-robed youth gave a faint smile, and a blood-red sword chi appeared out of thin air in front of Lu Yun without him making any movements. With a swish, Lu Yun's body flickered with golden lights, sword chi dispersed, and a powerful force brewed within him. The silver-robed youth still shook his head slightly, and countless blood-red sword chi condensed and shot at Lu Yun from all directions. My gold body is invincible. These sword chi won't break my physical body, Lu Yun shouted, wielding the saber with both hands as he slashed towards the silver-robed youth's head. It's not that simple. The silver-robed youth swung his sleeve, and his killing intent domain shrank suddenly, condensing into a peerless barrier blocking Lu Yun. Immediately, the long saber drew a trace, and a supremely condensed, unparalleled saber light instantly filled Lu Yun's pupils. The saber light expanded infinitely, transforming into a boundless scarlet world, completely submerging Lu Yun. I can't believe I lost like this. Lu Yun appeared outside the Myriad Phenomena Tower, still somewhat incredulous. In the end, how did he block my attack and defeat me? Is the fourth-rank peak slaughter conception really that strong? Lu Yun's slaughter conception had only reached the third rank, and its use was merely to enhance himself and suppress his enemies. The opponent on the 23rd floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower had a fourth-rank peak slaughter conception, and his control over the killing intent domain reached a level that was as he wished, condensing sword chi and sword light at any time, and terrifyingly powerful. Lost fair and square. The opponent's slaughter conception far surpasses mine, and even his physical body is not much worse than mine. Furthermore, his control over the killing intent domain is as he wishes. Not only can I not defend against it, I don't even have a chance to touch him. Lu Yun quickly accepted the fact that he had lost. Within the Myriad Phenomena Tower, the tower spirit's eyes were wide and round, muttering, "I've seen enough geniuses among the martial artists of Ling Province, but this Lu Yun, if it hadn't secretly strengthened the physical body of the 23rd floor trialist, perhaps Lu Yun would have forcibly passed through with his physical body alone. However, that would have negated the purpose of restraining the Dantian. A physical body that surpasses its cultivation level by a large margin and martial arts that are special even among the special. Interesting, it's really interesting now." Following that, the tower spirit sent the message of Lu Yun passing the 22nd floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower to the Dean of Flying Spirit Martial Academy, Yi Xingchen. "Ah, this kid really makes me both love and hate him." In the small courtyard, Yi Xingchen held the black, Lei Kang held the white, and the disciple and master engaged in a game of Go. "Master, is the kid you're talking about Lu Yun? What happened to him?" Lei Kang put down a piece, quite curious. Yi Xingchen nodded slightly and smiled. "Just now, Tower Spirit sent a message, saying that Lu Yun has passed the 22nd floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. With Lu Yun's strength, isn't it normal for him to pass the 22nd floor?" Lei Kang had also been present when Lu Yun made a breakthrough. As a Golden Body Realm peak powerhouse, he could see at a glance that Lu Yun's physical body was not a gold body yet very similar to a gold body. With such strength, not to mention the 22nd floor, he wouldn't be surprised if Lu Yun even passed the 23rd floor. Yi Xingchen shook his head and sighed bitterly. "It's different." The tower spirit noticed the strength of Lu Yun's physical body and also increased the difficulty of the Myriad Phenomena Tower accordingly. The opponents Lu Yun faced had powerful physical bodies, not much worse than those in the Golden Body Realm. Chapter 280. My battle style is quite brutal too. Furthermore, according to the tower spirit, Lu Yun's slaughter conception is merely at the third rank and 30% effective, which is actually the most terrifying aspect. "Oh!" Lei Kang's hand trembled as he placed his chess piece. "How is that possible? For an ordinary person, it would indeed be impossible, but if it happened to him, there wouldn't be anything too shocking about it." Yi Xingchen said, "For instance, who would have thought that a level 5 innate talent like him could cultivate to the peak of the transforming origin realm in just 3 short years and possess such frightening combat power?" Lei Kang pondered for a moment and said, Master, some time ago, didn't the Yuan Emperor issue an order for each martial academy to form a team to support the demon suppression army in suppressing the external sects? How about letting Lu Yun go out and gain some experience? Haha, our master-disciple pair really has a psychic connection. Yi Xingchen said, the matter of battling the external sects is of great importance. I wouldn't be at ease with just Lu Yun alone. A powerful elder needs to take the lead. Master must already have an idea in mind. Yi Xingchen nodded. I'd like you to go on this journey. You've always been staying at the Martial Academy, so you haven't had the opportunity to break through. All right. Lei Kang nodded lightly, as he actually had this idea in mind when he brought it up. Additionally, the war at the Narrow Line Sky battlefield will soon come to an end. Disciples like Fong Han, Su Mo, and your junior brother will be returning. At that time, you should guide them. Junior brother. Lei Kang hesitated for a while before nodding and saying, Junior brother's talent is unmatched, but if his sights remain solely on the Spirit Martial Prefecture, it would be no help to his growth. He should also go out and witness the heavenly prides from other places. After leaving the Myriad Phenomena Tower, Lu Yun arrived at the Book Collection Pavilion. The Book Collection Pavilion, it's been quite a while since I've been here. After allocating 10,000 contribution points to the Elder in the Book Collection Pavilion, Lu Yun headed straight to the third floor. Having previous experience in selecting cultivation techniques, Lu Yun directly sought out the jade walls with powerful inheritances to comprehend them. 5 hours later, in Lu Yun's mind, 4 more cultivation techniques appeared. The Red Sun Fist, Sea Breaking, 4 Images Finger, and Shocking Thunder Emperor Finger. He would use his fists for close combat and finger techniques for long-range attack. Moreover, Lu Yun comprehended 2 types of combat techniques from each category in order to integrate them into a higher-level technique. Satisfied, Lu Yun left the Book Collection Pavilion and went to the Pill Medicine Building. After passing the Myriad Phenomena Tower's 21st and 22nd floors, he gained an additional 29,000 contribution points. Deducting the 10,000 points spent in the Book Collection Pavilion, he still had 49,330 contribution points left. This time, he planned to exchange all of them for pills. Greetings, Senior Brother Lu. 2 Greetings, Senior Brother Lu. Seeing Lu Yun enter, the many disciples originally in the Pill Medicine Building greeted him, one after another. Lu Yun nodded with a smile, then went straight to the counter to exchange pills. Today, the Pill Medicine Building seemed to be doing good business as the disciples were too busy to attend to everyone. Lu. Senior Brother Lu, what kind of pills do you want to exchange? Seeing Lu Yun, a disciple from the Pill Medicine Building said excitedly. I'd like to exchange for some 5th-grade pills. I don't know if the Pill Medicine Building has any. 5th-grade pills. The disciple was slightly surprised before saying with a bitter smile, pills of 5th grade and above are handled personally by Elder Huang, and we can't process them. Elder Huang. Lu Yun frowned. Then, Elder Huang is not in the Pill Medicine Building. He is. It'll take Senior Brother Lu to see Elder Huang right now. Under the guidance of this Pill Medicine Building disciple, Lu Yun followed him to the 3rd floor. Elder Huang had a tuft of beard on his chin and looked to be about 40 years old. Seeing Lu Yun, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. Lu Yun? What is it that you need to find me for? Greetings, Elder Huang. This disciple is planning to go out for training and needs to exchange for some healing and true origin restoration pills. Lu Yun saluted with cupped fist. Elder Huang took a sip of tea and said, Oh, tell me what pills you need and how much you want to exchange. 3 bottles of spiritual jade pills, 1 bottle each of resurrection pills and origin extreme pills. Pfft. Upon hearing this, Elder Huang directly spat out the tea in his mouth that he hadn't swallowed yet, his eyes wide in surprise. What did you say? Say it again. I didn't hear clearly just now. 3 bottles of spiritual jade pills, 1 bottle each of resurrection pills and origin extreme pills. Lu Yun said seriously. Elder Huang carefully looked at Lu Yun and pondered. Do you know what an origin extreme pill is? Yes, Lu Yun nodded. The origin extreme pill is a top-tier level 5 pill, and just one can instantly restore a martial artist's true origin to its peak in the origin fluid realm. At the same time, it also has a certain chance of causing backlash. Since you know about it, why do you want to exchange it for the origin extreme pill? Not to mention how expensive it is, the backlash alone is not something ordinary people can bear. When compared to life, nothing else is important. Elder Huang nodded slightly. Indeed, life is the most important thing when you're out and about, especially for someone like you with heavenly talents. You should prepare more healing and recovery pills. However, my suggestion is to only prepare 1 or 2 origin extreme pills. The best choice in comparison is the Poria Blue pill. Lu Yun shook his head. 4 healing pills, spiritual jade pills and resurrection pills are enough. The Poria Blue pill is a healing pill, and regardless of the extent of the injuries sustained by martial artists at or below the origin fluid realm, as long as they take it in time, their injuries can be instantly repaired. However, compared to the origin extreme pill, the Poria Blue pill is more expensive, costing 32,000 contribution points for a bottle. As for the origin extreme pill, it only requires 31,000 contribution points. Lu Yun had taken both Poria Blue pills and the origin extreme pill before, and they both provided the same amount of energy, 3,000 energy points each. Seeing Lu Yun insisting him like this, Elder Huang didn't try to persuade him any further. People with exceptional talents like Lu Yun have their own opinions, and once they make a decision on something, they cannot be swayed by others. Elder Huang was well aware of this point, so he immediately got up to fetch the pills. The spiritual jade pill is a level 4 pill, each bottle costing 2,100 contribution points, so 3 bottles amount to 6,300 contribution points. The resurrection pill is a common level 5 pill, costing 10,000 contribution points, and the origin extreme pill, a top-tier level 5 pill, each bottle costs 31,000 contribution points, for a total of 47,300 contribution points. Elder Huang took out the pills and handed them to Lu Yun. Sighing, he said, "You're probably the only one in the entire martial academy who uses so many contribution points to exchange for healing and true origin recovery pills. My fighting style is quite rough and consumes a lot of true origin, so I have to prepare more recovery pills," Lu Yun explained with a smile, handing his token to Elder Huang. After deducting 47,300 contribution points, he was left with only 2,030 contribution points. "I'll take my leave now, Elder Huang." Lu Yun bowed and left. Watching Lu Yun's disappearing figure, Elder Huang couldn't help but bitterly smile. The difference between a once-in-lifetime talent and ordinary geniuses is not just in their talent but also in their unique style. As soon as Lu Yun left the pill medicine building, he suddenly remembered something, that he hadn't collected his cultivation resources for a long time. He turned right out of the building and arrived at the resource distribution area of the Internal Affairs Hall. Today wasn't the day for resource distribution, so there were hardly any people here, only 3 Martial Academy disciples. However, their strength was not bad, they had already reached the transforming origin realm. Judging by their weary appearances, they seemed to have just returned from completing an outside mission. I've emphasized this more than once. Unless it's a specific resource distribution day, I won't be responsible. Haven't you all remembered? Said the black-robed steward impatiently. Haha, Supervisor Yang, we will pay attention next time, the 3 disciples apologized with a smile. Humph, I've heard that from you guys at least 10 times. Supervisor Yang rolled his eyes but still distributed the cultivation resources to them. Who could blame them? All 3 were talented disciples of the Star Palace. If it was an ordinary disciple, they probably wouldn't even be able to see him. Lu Yun. One of them put away his spirit crystal, turned around, saw Lu Yun, and exclaimed, "Greetings, senior brother." Lu Yun smiled and greeted with a bow. He didn't know the other party, but he couldn't skimp on politeness. Lu Yun. The other 2-star palace disciples looked over as well, surprise showing in their eyes. During this period, Lu Yun's reputation had become even more illustrious, not only as a representative of heavenly talents but also as a symbol of strength. Outside the great wilderness major city, he single-handedly slaughtered thousands of demon beasts, even killing a level 5 peak demon beast. With that strength, he firmly stood at the peak of Spirit Martial Prefecture's younger generation. The black-robed steward also noticed Lu Yun and quickly said with a smile, "Nephew Lu, it's been a long time since you last collected your cultivation resources. Let me see how much you have accumulated." He then hurriedly checked the distribution record. The 3-star palace disciples couldn't help but smile bitterly at the sight. Chapter 281. 1/to annihilate, Thunderbolt Body Refining 15 months 24 Spirit Crystals for the first 6 months, 96 for the next 6 months, and 150 for the last 3 months, totaling 270 Spirit Crystals. The better one's performance in the Myriad Phenomena Tower, the more Spirit Crystals one would receive each month. After the calculations by the black-clothed steward, Lu Yun had earned a total of 270 Spirit Crystals. This amount of Spirit Crystals would undoubtedly be a huge sum for an ordinary transforming origin realm cultivator, but for Lu Yun it was better than nothing. In one corner of his Sumi ring, there were over 1,000 Spirit Crystals piled up. Seeing Lu Yun casually taking over 200 Spirit Crystals, the 3 Martial Academy Star Palace disciples stared with envy in their eyes. "Don't look, they've all gone far away," the black-clothed steward said indifferently. "Remember, next time I won't help you guys again." Having said that, the black-clothed steward took out a sign with the words "Closed" written on it, then closed his eyes, lay back in the chair, and fell asleep in a comfortable position. Leaving the Internal Affairs Hall, Lu Yun headed towards the back mountain. Ever since his dwelling was destroyed by his previous cultivation session, he had been homeless. These days, he had been cultivating and resting in the back mountain. However, it was quite good to use the sky as a bed and the earth as a blanket. Seeing that there was no one around, Lu Yun took out all the pills he had just exchanged and began the refinement process. After refining 3 bottles of spiritual jade pills, 5,100 energy value points were added. After refining a bottle of resurrection pill, 10,500 energy value points were added. After refining a bottle of Origin Extreme pill, 30,000 energy value points were added. A total of 45,600 energy value points were added. Adding the remaining energy value points, it totaled 54,360 points. Lu Yun couldn't be happy about suddenly gaining so many energy value points. I've lost big. I shouldn't have exchanged for the Origin Extreme pill," Lu Yun said to himself. A bottle of resurrection pill only required 10,000 contribution points, and after refining it, it would add 10,500 energy value points, while it took 31,000 contribution points to exchange for a bottle of Origin Extreme pill but only added 30,000 energy value points after refining. In other words, Lu Yun's momentary oversight cost him over 1,000 energy value points. "It's all because I haven't used a resurrection pill before, or else I wouldn't make such a low-level mistake." Lu Yun's eyes flickered, "but now that I have experience, I must be extra careful when exchanging for pills in the future." Panel. Name: Lu Yun. Power: Flying Spirit Martial Academy Cultivation Technique. Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon, Transforming Origin Chapter, Perceive Truth, Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, 4th rank, Breaking Extreme 100%, Life Destruction Saber Techniques, 1st rank, One Strike Ends Sins 100%, Wind Thunder Manual, 2nd rank, 3000 Thunder Movement 100%, Red Sun Fist pre-entry, Sea Breaking pre-entry, 4 Images Finger pre-entry, Shocking Thunder Emperor Finger pre-entry. Innate Talent, Level 8 Martial Arts. Transforming Origin Realms Extreme Realm Energy Value, 54360, 4 added automatically per day. Conception, Slaughter Conception, 3rd rank 35%, Thunder Conception, 1st rank 14%. Skill, Level 4 Alchemy Technique, 81%. Talent, White Lotus Flame, 4th rank 1%. Seeing the newly appeared 4 cultivation techniques on the panel, Lu Yun smiled lightly. Generally, when entering the book collection pavilion, one would only be able to comprehend one cultivation technique and would need to digest it before being able to comprehend the second cultivation technique. But he had the panel. As long as he could comprehend it, a record would remain on the panel. Next, he needed to promote them to entry level and then integrate them. With over 50,000 energy value points, Lu Yun could afford to splurge a little. Consume 150 energy value points, raise Red Sun Fist to 1st rank 1%. Consume 200 energy value points, raise Sea Breaking to 1st rank 1%. Consume 250 energy value points, raise 4 Images Finger to 1st rank 1%. Consume 300 energy value points, raise Shocking Thunder Emperor Finger to 1st rank I%. Upon raising the 4 cultivation techniques to entry level, a fusion panel appeared behind them. Concentrating his mind, Lu Yun lightly tapped the fusion panel behind the Red Sun Fist. Discovered that Red Sun Fist and Sea Breaking can be fused. Fusion requires the consumption of 4,000 energy value points. Fusion. With a thought from Lu Yun, 4,000 energy value points were instantly consumed from the panel. The next instant, a gray figure that looked similar to him appeared in his mind, beginning to comprehend and fuse the 2 cultivation technique. 1 month passed. 2 months passed. Half a year later. One day, the fusion was finally successful. Fist Scripture. Formed by fusing Red Sun Fist and Sea Breaking, after improving, it can fuse countless fist techniques. Currently, it only has 1 level. Red Sun Breaks the Sky. Progress, 1st rank 1%. Seeing the remark behind the fist scripture, Lu Yun couldn't help but feel a little surprised. Unlike the 2 saber classics, the fist scripture was not restricted by the attributes of the cultivation techniques and could fuse countless fist technique. This meant that as long as enough fist techniques were fused, the fist scripture would become increasingly terrifying. With this thought in mind, Lu Yun couldn't help but feel inexplicably excited. If I can fuse countless fist techniques, won't I be able to break tens of thousands of techniques with one punch? Shaking his head slightly, suppressing the surging emotions in his heart, Lu Yun reopened the fusion panel behind the 4 Images Finger. Discovered that 4 Images Finger and Shocking Thunder Emperor Finger can be fused. Fusion requires the consumption of 5,500 energy value points. Compared to the fusion of Red Sun Fist and Sea Breaking, the fusion of 4 Images Finger and Shocking Thunder Emperor Finger consumed more energy value points. The more energy value points consumed, the greater their potential, and the more powerful they would be when unleashed. Fusion. Without any hesitation, Lu Yun focused his mind, and 5,500 energy value points were instantly consumed from the panel. Chapter 282. One Strike Annihilation, Thunderous Body Refinement _2. In that instant, the figure in the gray training robe appeared in his mind, beginning to comprehend and integrate the 2 cultivation technique. 1 month passed. 2 months passed. 1 year later. One day they finally merged successfully. Finger Scripture. Formed by the fusion of 4 Images Finger and Shocking Thunder Emperor Finger, after improving, it can merge thousands of finger technique. Currently, it only has 1 layer, Formless Tribulation Finger. Progress, 1st layer 1%. Lu Yun found out that after his innate talent was improved, the efficiency of the figure in his mind in integrating the cultivation techniques seemed to have also increased. I don't know if it's just my illusion, but if it's true, maybe I can save some energy value indirectly. Lu Yun nodded with satisfaction, and then checked the panel, finding that there were still 43,960 energy values left. He opened the information behind the Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, Life Destruction Saber Techniques, Fist Scripture, and Finger Scripture. Astonishing Wind Saber Manual 5th Layer, Annihilation, the power and speed increase 4 times after activation, 125 energy values per training progress. Life Destruction Saber Techniques 2nd Layer, Unparalleled Bloodblade, the power increases 5 times after casting, 150 energy values per training progress. Fist Scripture 1st Layer, Red Sun Breaks the Sky, 120 energy values per training progress. Finger Scripture 1st Layer, Formless Tribulation Finger, 150 energy values per training progress. Upgrade Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, Fist Scripture 1, and Finger Scripture 1. After hesitating in his heart, Lu Yun quickly made the decision. With his current increased physical strength, Lu Yun was no longer afraid of being unable to withstand the impact of a torrent of energy, and immediately consumed 12,500 energy values. In an instant, in his mind, that figure began to continuously practice the Astonishing Wind Saber Manual's 5th Layer, Annihilation Saber Technique. Half an hour, 1 month, 3 months. After half a year, a gray figure suddenly appeared in a void, with a huge-sized demon beast in the distance, its body entwined with monstrous demon energy, the wings flapping, causing demonic winds and trembling the void. The gray figure's right hand pressed on the saber handle, with a clang, the long saber came out of the sheath, with a peerless saber light, and instantly penetrated the void with an incredible speed and extreme power. The entire sky was split in half by the saber light. The huge demon beast didn't have time to react and was engulfed by the saber light, turning into 2 pieces in a moment, its terrifying body annihilated. Boom! At the moment when the saber light dissipated, Lu Yun felt a sudden change in his sea of consciousness space. It kept expanding, and the gray fog became more and more dense. Feeling the greatly changed sea of consciousness space, Lu Yun was a little surprised and confused. Does the breakthrough of saber technique also promote the increase of spiritual power? Or is it that I have absorbed too many memories? Lu Yun couldn't figure it out for a while, but he had a feeling that it might be due to the combined effect of the 2 factors. The progress of the 5th layer of Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, Annihilation, and the absorption of the memories took about 4 hours in total. At this moment, the sunset hasn't fallen yet, but clusters of dark clouds have already appeared, filling the sky. In a flash, lightning flashed and thunder roared, and the heavy rain poured down. Lu Yun sat cross-legged on a piece of blue stone with a golden light flashing around him. When the raindrops were about to fall on his head, it seemed as if something blocked them, making them fly out in an arc shape in all directions. The heavy rain poured down, and the ripples in Lu Yun's mind gradually rose. He stood up, and the surrounding rain droplets bent around him. A flash of purple light appeared on his index finger, and the dragon scale saber appeared in front of him. At the moment when he held the saber handle, it seemed as if another dragon chant sounded in his ears. Looking up, there were clusters of dark clouds above, making the sky appear heavy and gloomy. Lu Yun's eyes flashed with brilliance, and his figure suddenly moved, appearing in the air from the top of the mountain. Inside the dark clouds, thunder snakes danced. Lu Yun glanced at the thunder snakes indifferently, his hands tightly gripping the saber handle, and the pure yang strong origin surged. In an instant, a saber light stretched out from the blade. Annihilation! In a blink, a dazzling and stunning saber light appeared in the originally gloomy sky. Immediately afterward, the saber light pierced through the sky and cut towards the heavy clouds. Poochie! The dark and thick clouds seemed to be cut open abruptly, and a ray of light bloomed from the center, shining down from the sky to the earth. However, this only lasted for a moment, and the dark clouds regathered. As if provoked, the thunderbolts became even stronger and lightning snakes emerged from the clouds, attacking Lu Yun fiercely with bared fangs and dancing claws. Compared to the thunder released by Lu Yun's 3000 thunder movement, these thunderbolts were much more violent and faster, striking Lu Yun hard. Crack! With thunderbolts bombarding him, even Lu Yun's body, which was comparable to the golden body realm, felt indescribable pain. However, Lu Yun noticed that after being struck by the thunderbolt, the progress of thunder conception on the panel had actually increased by a little bit. This sudden discovery made Lu Yun's heart race with excitement, ignoring the heart-wrenching pain coming from his brain after the thunderbolt strike on his flesh. Thunder conception has increased to first ranker 6%. Thunder conception has increased to first rank 17%. Feeling the improvement of thunder conception, Lu Yun was in both pain and pleasure. About the time it took for a pot of tea to steep, thunder conception had increased to first rank 20%. At the same time, the thunderbolts in the sky began to converge, and the dark clouds were about to dissipate. However, Lu Yun, who had just benefited from it, was not going to give up at this point. He swung his blade again. One strike annihilation, causing the heavens and the earth to tremble. The dark clouds were directly cut open, revealing an incredibly wide white belt. This strike was effective and powerful, but it also completely angered the thunder hidden within the dark clouds. Rumble! Thunder roared as thick, purple thunderbolts struck Lu Yun's body. With a snap, his incredibly strong flesh instantly cracked open, and golden blood dripped from the sky. "Haha, let it come even more fiercely." But Lu Yun laughed wildly and actively moved towards the thunderbolts. Thunder conception has increased to first rank 22%. Thunder conception has increased to first rank 24%. An hour later, thunder conception had increased to second rank 3%. At this time, Lu Yun's flesh was in a terrible state, with golden blood dripping continuously from the scarred and crusted wounds. Another hour later, thunder conception had increased to second rank 27%. However, Lu Yun's flesh was now in shambles. He couldn't hold on any longer. With a reverse grip, he slashed through the thunderbolts and escaped immediately. Rumble! Feeling the increasingly agitated thunder behind him, Lu Yun couldn't help taking a cold breath. Although the improvement is quite exciting, it's also very unsafe. Lu Yun even felt that if he were to be just a little bit later, it would have been the end of him. The consecutive thunderbolts were enough to crush his flesh. After losing track of Lu Yun, the thunderbolts could only rage wildly, breaking off a mountain top and leaving a scorched land behind. It took a long time for the sky to slowly return to calm. At this time, it was already evening, and faint starlight spilled from the sky, covering the mountain peak with a layer of silvery clothes. Lu Yun sat cross-legged on a huge blue stone at the mountain peak, his body shimmering with golden light. His flesh was severely damaged, and residual thunderbolt force continued to invade. After a lot of effort, he finally managed to expel the thunderbolt force. Then, after being tempered countless times, his flesh finally displayed its powerful self-healing ability. With the addition of the healing effect of the pure yang strong origin, the horrifying wounds healed at an impressive speed. By the next morning, Lu Yun opened his eyes, a trace of electric arc flashing, causing the space in front of him to tremble slightly. Ah, what a comfortable feeling! Lu Yun stood up, stretching his muscles and feeling extremely relaxed. At this point, his body was spotlessly clean, his skin like crystal, without a trace of any wounds, appearing to have fully recovered. Such terrifying injuries would have required at least 10 days to half a month for an ordinary person to recover and resume normal activity. As for a complete recovery, it would probably have taken months. But Lu Yun, without taking any pills, simply relying on his flesh's self-healing ability and the healing effect of pure yang strong origin, had completely recovered in just one night. This healing speed could only be described as horrifying. Just then, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Elder Chen? Lu Yun's eyes flashed with astonishment, staring at Chen Tianyun, who suddenly appeared before him. Lu Yun, come with me, Chen Tianyun said with a smile. Where to? Straight Sun Hall. All right. Although he was puzzled, Lu Yun didn't refuse. Straight Sun Hall was the place where the high-ranking officials of the Martial Academy held meetings. Academy disciples were not allowed to approach it without being summoned. Lu Yun had been in the Martial Academy for over 3 years and had never been to the Straight Sun Hall, so his curiosity was piqued. Chapter 283 Martial Academy Saint Child, Value of Fate inside the Straight Sun Hall. Lu Yun saw Dean Yixingchen of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy once again. At the same time, there were many mighty people in the hall, each leaving Lu Yun with a sense of impending danger. These people, they must all be at least Gold Body Realm cultivators. Lu Yun instantly had this thought in mind. Seeing someone come in, Yixingchen looked at Chen Tianyun and Lu Yun and said with a smile, "You two can sit down." After the two were seated, Yixingchen raised his head to look at the crowd in the hall. "Everyone, today I have gathered all the Academy's elders for a reason." Upon hearing this, the faces of the people in the hall grew tense. Yixingchen's gaze fell on Lu Yun. According to the news from the Black Tiger Army, Lu Yun performed an exceptional service in the Great Wilderness Major City by slaying demons and preventing the demon beasts from invading the Spirit Martial Prefecture by breaking through the city. This is a great contribution. Moreover, since Lu Yun returned to the Academy, his strength has once again broken through, achieving a strength comparable to that of the Gold Body Realm while at the peak of the Transforming Origin Realm. Now I have decided to directly promote Lu Yun to the Elder of the Academy, and also grant him the title of the Academy's Saint Child. An Elder of the Academy, Saint Child. Everyone present exhibited various changes in their expressions. Having the strength of the Gold Body Realm, and being promoted to an Elder of the Academy isn't bizarre. Among the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's elders, which total to just over 20, half of them are in the early or middle stage of the Gold Body Realm. Most of the people present had witnessed Lu Yun's breakthrough that day, and coupled with the news from the Great Wilderness Major City, none of them doubted that Lu Yun's power was inferior to that of the Gold Body Realm. Thus, although the jump for Lu Yun to become one of the Academy's elders seemed a bit huge, it was quite understandable. What left them in shock, however, was Lu Yun being granted the title of the Academy's Saint Child. If an elder's status was extraordinary, then the status of the Academy's Saint Child stood even higher than most elders. To put it precisely, in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, the Saint Child was second to one and superior to all. Even those peak Gold Body Realm elders bowed their heads in the presence of the Saint Child. Most importantly, the position of the Saint Child in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy was unprecedented since the Academy was established. Only the very top academies in Ling Province and those super martial arts academies in the Central and Wu provinces had the position of the Saint Child. The title of the Saint Child represents both talent and strength. However, upon closer thought, it seemed quite normal for Lu Yun to become the first Saint Child of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Harnessing the fighting strength of the Gold Body Realm at the peak of the Transforming Origin Realm, who among the disciples in over 200 years since the establishment of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy could accomplish that. Immediately, Chen Tianyun, who was seated next to him, congratulated him, saying, "Congratulations, Elder Lu. Congratulations, Elder Lu, or should I say Saint Child." An elder from the Gold Body Realm, sitting on his right, also congratulated him. The gazes of the hall then all fell on Lu Yun, filled with various meanings. There were scrutiny, excitement, happiness, and so on. After all, a small portion of the elders hadn't witnessed the scene of Lu Yun's breakthrough some days ago. Their understanding of Lu Yun was limited to mere rumors. Below, Lu Yun accepted the decree. Thank you, Dean. This disciple will surely live up to the name of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's Saint Child, whether it was being directly promoted to an elder of the Academy or becoming the first Saint Child of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Lu Yun was well beyond surprised. However, this was absolutely beneficial for him. To his knowledge, just being an elder of the Academy entitled him to enter the 4th level of the book collection pavilion. The cultivation techniques on the 4th level correspond to the Rune Seed realm. While the pure Yang martial arts canon only goes up to the Golden Body episode, to form the Rune Seed chapter, he must comprehend the subsequent cultivation techniques and blend them together. Now, he has the qualification to enter the 4th level by becoming an elder of the Academy. However, even as an elder, he still needs to pay the corresponding contribution point. As for the benefits of being the Saint Child one, Lu Yun didn't have any clarity. After all, the Flying Spirit Martial Academy had never had a Saint Child before his time. But Lu Yun believed that the benefits of being a Saint Child should be even greater than those of an elder. Lu Yun. Yi Xingqian suddenly looked towards Lu Yun and said with a smile, "Over the course of the next month, you should stay at the Academy and not go anywhere else. There will be tasks assigned to you then." "That's all well and good, but my original accommodation has been destroyed, so I don't have a place to stay in the Academy." "A place to live?" Yi Xingqian shook his head and chuckled. "I've given you the whole back mountain, what else do you want? If we arrange another place for you, I'm afraid it won't endure your bullying. You should solve it by yourself." Before Lu Yun could reply, he continued, "Now that you are the Saint Child of the Academy, I'll tell you about the rights and privileges granted to this title." Hearing this, Lu Yun became serious. "Thank you, Dean, for unraveling my doubts." Yi Xingqian said, "In addition to privileges similar to those of the elders, the Academy's Saint Child can also freely access the book collection pavilion and other cultivation sites. Besides, when outside, the Saint Child can fully represent the Flying Spirit Martial Academy." Completely represent the Flying Spirit Martial Academy? Not only was Lu Yun astounded, but the other Gold Body Realm elders in the hall were also stunned. Being able to fully represent the Flying Spirit Martial Academy was a privilege almost equivalent to being the dean. Yi Xingqian looked deeply at Lu Yun, a faint smile appearing on his face. "As you are now an elder of the Academy, and even more so the Saint Child of the Academy, your words and actions will affect the reputation and interests of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. You must contemplate carefully before you act and always prioritize the interests of the Academy." "I understand." Chapter 284. Martial Academy Saint Child Value of Fate 2. Lu Yun nodded. Just having the free access to the book collection pavilion as the Saint Child of the Martial Academy was enough to make Lu Yun happy. As for putting the interests of the Martial Academy first, it's every disciple and elder's duty, so there's nothing to be said about it. In fact, Lu Yun understood that all of this still had to do with his reputation and astounding talent that he had displayed during this period, otherwise it would never have been his turn to hold the position of Saint Child. Then, Yi Xingqian waved his hand and a purple light flashed, flying to Lu Yun's front. "As the Saint Child, you can't be shabby. This is the purple-black star robe, a defensive superior profound artifact that can absorb 30% of the strength of a full-strength strike from a Rune Seed Realm powerhouse." His Golden Body Realm elders in the hall gasped in astonishment. Most of them didn't even possess a superior profound artifact up to now, let alone a defensive one. Defensive superior profound artifacts are incredibly precious, and their value could even rival ordinary treasure artifacts. Lu Yun was even more shocked, completely stunned by the purple-black star robe. Superior profound artifact? And it's a defensive-type superior profound artifact, something he had never dared to dream of. Back then, in the exchange manual, a mere low-level mysterious weapon cost 150,000 points, which he didn't dare even to look at. How many points acquired by slaying demon beasts would he need to exchange for such a defensive-type superior profound artifact? This number, Lu Yun could no longer bear to imagine. Yi Xingqian flicked his sleeve, and a golden token appeared out of nowhere, falling in front of Lu Yun. This is the identity token of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's Saint Child. With this token, you can command disciples or other elders of the Martial Academy. Lu Yun glanced at it. This Saint Child token wasn't much different from the token he had previously received as a Star Palace disciple. The only difference was that the token was golden and looked more prestigious. Besides that, there were 2 additional characters on the token, Saint Child. It seemed that Yi Xingqian had thought of something. In a serious tone, he said, "Right, aren't you the honorary executive of the Alchemist Association of Ling Province?" "Yes." "In that case, the position of the Pill Medicine Building Master has been vacant for a long time. You might as well take up the responsibility. As the Pill Medicine Building Master, you can use the Martial Academy's various spiritual materials and resources, but you have to provide the corresponding pills," Yi Xingqian said, utterly serious. As far as he knows, Lu Yun's alchemy talent is extremely frightening and unparalleled at the Ling Province Alchemy Conference. Moreover, he suppressed all other alchemy geniuses. Soon after that, he concocted a 4th-grade pill with pill patterns, and was promoted to the position of honorary executive in the Alchemist Association's headquarters in Ling Province. Such good resources must be used, and not wasted. Lu Yun hesitated. "Dean, I can't stay in the Martial Academy for a long time." As for the position of the Pill Medicine Building Master, Yi Xingqian waved his hand and laughed. "It's all right, the position has been vacant anyway." Since the other party had said so, Lu Yun naturally wouldn't refuse, and gladly accepted the gentleman's job. "All right, I shall take up the position of Pill Medicine Building Master later. Before I leave, I'll make sure the Pill Medicine Building's stock of pills is abundant." "Haha, that would be even better. But don't let it affect your cultivation." Yi Xingqian nodded slightly. The Flying Spirit Martial Academy's alchemists were scarce, especially high-level alchemists, which made the supply of 4th and 5th-grade pills come exclusively from the Alchemist Association. These pills weren't free, and the price for them was not small. With a talented alchemist like Lu Yun taking over the Pill Medicine Building, the situation wouldn't deteriorate but would only get better. Then, Yi Xingqian looked at Lu Yun with even more admiration in his eyes. Genuinely talented, hard-working in cultivation, and possessing extraordinary innate talent. Such a person was undoubtedly an all-around genius. Yi Xingqian was genuinely delighted that the Flying Spirit Martial Academy produced such a talent. The only regret was that he hadn't taken him under his wing and formed a bond of apprenticeship when Lu Yun was weak. Although Gu Yuan wasn't bad, and his talents surpassed 99% of Ling Province's geniuses, he still paled in comparison to Lu Yun. Otherwise, he wouldn't have allowed Lu Yun to become the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's Saint Child. In the end, Lu Yun left the Straight Sun Hall feeling satisfied. Before this, he was just an ordinary Star Palace disciple. But in such a short time, he had transformed, not only becoming the first Saint Child of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, but also simultaneously holding the positions of Academy Elder and Pill Medicine Building Master. Such a change in identity could only be described as dreamlike. In addition, he also obtained a purple-black star robe, the value of which was comparable to that of an ordinary treasure artifact. It was simply ecstatic. Lu Yun tried his best to suppress the joy in his heart and blissfully walked towards the back mountain. At the same time, the news of Lu Yun becoming the Martial Academy's Saint Child, as well as serving as the dean and the head of the Pill Medicine Building, quickly spread throughout the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Such news was like a storm, sweeping through instantly and causing a huge sensation and impact. For a time, there were voices discussing Lu Yun throughout the academy. However, such matters had nothing to do with Lu Yun. Upon arrival at the back mountain, he began seclusion to improve himself. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Cultivation Technique: Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon. Transforming Origin Chapter: Perceive Truth. Astonishing Wind Extreme Saber Classic. 5th Layer. Life Destruction 100%. Life Destruction Saber Techniques. 1st Layer. One Strike End Sins 100%. Wind Thunder Manual. 2nd Layer. 3000 Thunder Movement. 100%. Fist Scripture. 1st Layer. Red Sun Breaks the Sky 1%. Finger Scripture. 1st Layer. Formless Tribulation Finger 1%. Innate Talent. Level 8 Martial Arts. Transforming Origin Realm Extreme Energy Value 31,464, 4 automatically added per day. Conception, Slaughter Conception, 3rd rank 35%. Thunder Conception, 2nd rank 27%. Skill, Level 4 Alchemy Technique, 81%. Talent, White Lotus Flame, 4th rank 1%. Luck Value 10. Becoming the Saint Child of Flying Spirit Martial Academy, representing the Flying Spirit Martial Academy in the world. Note 1. Luck value increases the grade of weapons or treasures and fuses the same type of weapons. Note 2. Automatically increases by 1 per day. Chem? Lu Yun's gaze suddenly condensed, staring intently at the last item on the panel. Luck value? And it can also increase points for weapons or treasures. 2 identical weapons can be fused? This perverted function stupefied Lu Yun. Doesn't that mean I won't have to worry about finding suitable weapons anymore, and I won't have to worry about weapons affecting my accumulation of energy value? Lu Yun's eyes gleamed. This luck value came just in time. Looking at the luck value on the panel again, Lu Yun couldn't help but cry out in his heart. As long as I have enough energy value, I can upgrade my dragon scale saber to an immortal weapon. Although he didn't know if there were immortal weapons in this world, did that matter? After calming down the waves of emotion in his heart, he realized that using luck value to upgrade weapons was a difficult task. The panel is great in all aspects, but it doesn't provide a user manual, so you have to figure everything out on your own. Afterward, Lu Yun took out the dragon scale saber and focused his mind on luck value. After waiting for a while, there was no movement. He tried the opposite approach, focusing his mind on the dragon scale saber. After waiting for a long time, there was still no movement. I don't believe it. This time, Lu Yun divided his mind in 2. One focused on luck value and the other on the dragon scale saber. Still no success, which left Lu Yun somewhat angry. After pondering for 10 minutes, Lu Yun decided to use the simplest and most cliched method. He sank his mind and silently chanted in his heart, "Upgrade Dragon Scale Saber." The next moment, a response finally appeared on the panel, showing a message. Insufficient luck value. Dragon Scale Saber is a special mysterious weapon, and requires 100 luck value to be upgraded from mid-level mysterious weapon to top-grade mysterious weapon. Lu Yun's eyes narrowed slightly. 100 luck values. Doesn't that mean he has to wait about 3 more months? Moreover, it takes 100 luck value just to upgrade from mid-level mysterious weapon to top-grade mysterious weapon. What about upgrading from top-grade mysterious weapon to superior profound artifact? At this thought, Lu Yun suddenly felt that luck value wasn't as attractive as he thought. I might as well just use my energy value to improve my cultivation techniques. Gently shaking his head, Lu Yun's spirit returned to his panel. Chapter 285. A Terrifying Finger, Future Self? Immediately, Lu Yun calmed his mind and focused his thoughts on the red sun breaks the sky technique. Upgrade. In an instant, the energy value on the panel sharply decreased by 12,000. At the same time, a scene reappeared in his mind, of a man in gray practicing his fists. This gray-clothed man had no foundation in fist techniques, but he was a saber cultivation expert, so his mastery of the basics came quickly, and his fist techniques became stronger and stronger. One day, he finally began to practice the red sun breaks the sky. Relying on his unrelenting will and excellent talent, he achieved perfection in just half a year. The memory of less than a year of cultivation quickly became a torrent in Lu Yun's mind, which he fully absorbed. Now Lu Yun stood atop a high peak, his purple-black star robe fluttering in the wind, his eyes suddenly falling on a distant mountain peak. Good, I'll use you to test the power of red sun breaks the sky. Lu Yun laughed softly, stepped into the air, golden light flashing under his feet, ripples appearing. In 2 or 3 steps, he had crossed several hundred meters. Roar! Lu Yun roared and descended from the sky, stirring the pure Yang's strong origin, his right fist glowing like a sun, breaking through layers of space, and falling toward the mountain peak several hundred meters high. Hiss, hiss, hiss. It seemed as if the spiritual energy between heaven and earth was being suppressed, sweeping frantically to the sides, and under the sun-like fist, there was only a vacuum zone. Boom! The huge fist fell, the mountain collapsed with a rumble, shattered rocks flew through the sky, and wild beasts scattered and fled in fear. The powerful commotion caused the martial academy to tremble. Lu Yun, in a flowing purple robe with his hands on his back, revealed the demeanor of a fist technique expert with his calm and indifferent gaze. Glancing at the ruined mountain peak, a faint arc formed at the corner of his mouth. This one punch could split mountains. What demon beasts could withstand it? Phil. His path was far from invincible. Having inflated with pride briefly, Lu Yun quickly calmed down again. He hadn't forgotten about the scene of a Golden Body Realm peak cultivator and a 6th-rank peak demon beast fighting. The terrifying power he witnessed, capable of destroying mountains and seas with just a wave of their hand, was far more potent than his red sun breaks the sky technique. It wasn't that the red sun breaks the sky technique was weak. It was that Lu Yun was still too weak. His numerous methods and strong combat power amounted to no more than the transforming origin realm. To further improve his combat power, he could only improve his realm. Unfortunately, he had only recently made a breakthrough. If he were to break through again, the consequences would be unthinkable, far beyond the explanation of being a monstrous genius. It's a shame, there's no method to conceal my realm. Lu Yun sighed to himself. I'll have to put up with it for a while longer. Golden light flashed under Lu Yun's feet, and in a few steps, he returned to the highest peak. Here, he was the closest to the stars, and he could reach out and touch them, feeling most at ease. Sitting on a green stone, bathed in a silver moonlight, and feeling the gentle breeze blowing over the mountain peak, Lu Yun felt incredibly peaceful and relaxed. For a moment, a seemingly absurd thought crossed his mind. If he had a few close friends and a love interest, they could all hide in this mountain peak. Together, they'd enjoy the spring blooms, cool winds in summer, silvery moons in autumn, and the snowy winters. The cycle of days passing and the cloud patterns, changing with the rotation of the 4 seasons, would not be a wasted life. Luckily, it was just an absurd thought. A lightning arc flashed in Lu Yun's eyes. Immediately, he flicked his sleeve, lightning splattering, and the blooming 100 flowers on the mountaintop quickly shattered, struck by thunder. Whoever obstructs my eternal life shall die. Lu Yun was now in the transforming origin realm, but his body was as strong as a gold body, extending his life to 200 years. 200 years of life, to ordinary people, was barely considered eternal life. But compared to Rune Seed Realm cultivators with a lifespan of 300 years, it still fell short. After the Rune Seed Realm came the Golden Core Realm, where one's lifespan would multiply, allowing them to live for 500 years. Above the Golden Core Realm was the Heavenly Human Realm, with a lifespan of 800 years. Morijin was only a little over 800 years old. First, set a small goal, live for 1,000 years. Lu Yun's eyes shone brightly, thinking to himself. Upgrade. The moment the thought landed, the energy value on the panel was instantly consumed by 15,000, leaving only 4,464 points. As for the changes in the energy value, Lu Yun didn't have time to pay attention. All his attention was focused on the gray figure in his mind. Perhaps it was due to the gradual strengthening of his spiritual power, but Lu Yun now had an impression of the gray-clothed man's face. It was the face of a young and handsome man, who bore a striking resemblance to himself, devoid of any emotion, and sat cross-legged in the star-filled sky, cultivating. After an unknown period, a black-robed elder suddenly appeared, his eyes shadowed as he looked at the gray-clothed youth in cultivation, laughing heartily. Instantly, he waved his sleeve, releasing a giant seal that emitted a golden light. The force of heaven and earth surged, the seal transformed into a massive mountain, and it pressed down on the gray-clothed youth. Under the stardust, a furious wind rose, and in that moment, the gray-clothed youth opened his eyes. He looked calmly at the mountain as it quickly descended, and his lips moved slightly. "Watch closely, the next finger will be spectacular." Lu Yun felt an illusion that the person was speaking to him. Before he could marvel, he saw the gray-clothed youth already reaching out his hand. With a gentle tap of his index finger, the sky trembled, and a dazzling light streaked through it, transforming into a flood dragon coiling at one moment, a dancing vermilion bird in the next, then a leaping white tiger, and at other times a colossal star, formless and indefinable. This was the formless tribulation finger. Chapter 286. Terrifying Finger, Future Body? _2 Boom. The formless tribulation finger and the giant seal colliding like huge mountains made the starry sky momentarily dim. The starlight filling the sky was absorbed and transmitted somewhere by the shattered space. In a crackling sound, the enormous falling mountain was pierced through, the dazzling golden giant seal shattered and scattered into the boundless starry sky. The invisible and formless finger continued to pierce through the void, breaking through everything, crossing layers of space, and went straight to the old man in the black robe. How, the old man in the black robe hadn't even spat out a word before his head was pierced through, and his body exploded in the starry sky. Sun and moon were without light, and stars were unbrilliant. Everything was extinguished. Lu Yun's eyes suddenly opened, and a ray of starlight flashed across. Everything was silent, and the galaxy was reenacted. So strong, so terrifying. Lu Yun's pupils were still filled with disbelief. This was the first time he had witnessed such a powerful collision. The fights of Golden Body Realm peak experts were like children's games in comparison, with no sense of appreciation at all. However, does the formless tribulation finger have such terrifying power? Lu Yun's heart suddenly moved. Let me give it a try. He activated his memory, and waves of memories flooded in like a tide. Soon, he understood everything about the formless tribulation finger very clearly, as if he had practiced it for dozens of months. Following the gray-clothed youth's movements, the aura origin in his body surged, and he pointed his index finger at the cliffside of the cliff shrouded in clouds and mist below him. Whoosh! A golden pillar of light shot out, like a heavenly pillar falling from the galaxy. It was dazzling and had unparalleled power. Instantly, the clouds in the valley churned, and the mist steamed up. The formless tribulation finger landed on the precipitous cliff. Rumble! The mountains trembled and rubble splattered. A deceptively deep cave appeared on the towering cliff. Compared to the gray-clothed youth's finger that pierces the galaxy and shatters the void, it's less than 1/10,000th of the power. Lu Yun shook his head lightly, and then his mind landed on the panel again. Name: Lu Yun Force. Flying Spirit Martial Academy Cultivation Techniques. Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon. Transforming Origin Chapter. Perceive Truth. Astonishing Wind Saber Manual. 5th Level. 100% Destruction. Life Destruction Saber Techniques. 1st Level. 1 Strike End Sins 100%. Wind Thunder Manual. 2nd Level. 3000 Thunder Movement. 100%. Fist Scripture. 1st Level. Red Sun Breaks the Sky 100%. Finger Scripture, 1st Level. Formless Tribulation Finger 100%. Innate Talent. Level 8 Martial Arts. Peak of Transforming Origin Realm Energy Value. 4,484, increase by 4 every day. Conception. Slaughter Conception, 3rd rank 35%. Thunder Conception, 2nd rank 27%. Skills. Level 4 Alchemy Technique, 81%. Talent. White Lotus Flame, 4th rank 1%. Luck Value. 13. The luck value has increased by 5 points. Has it been 5 days already? As for the rapid passage of time, Lu Yun found it somewhat inconceivable. In his view, no more than a dozen hours had passed at most. Lu Yun also recalled the scenes of the gray-clothed man practicing and fighting. Could it be that this gray-clothed youth was too strong, exceeding a certain limit, to the extent that it affected my judgment of time? Upon thinking of this, Lu Yun couldn't help but re-examine the process of using energy points to increase his cultivation. That gray-clothed youth who had appeared in his mind should be himself, or perhaps even his future self. Because the future had infinite possibilities, every summoned future self had different strength levels. And this time, he was able to summon such a powerful future self, like winning a grand prize while constantly gambling and suddenly having luck explode. Thinking of this, Lu Yun couldn't help shaking his head, feeling that his thoughts were getting more and more far-fetched, to even come up with the idea of a future self. If just those few energy points could summon his future self, then his future self would be too cheap. Gathering his thoughts and looking at the time, it was almost the beginning of the day. Lu Yun's figure flickered as he went down the mountain. Pill Medicine Building. Senior Brother Lu. As soon as Lu Yun came to the Pill Medicine Building, he heard a crisp voice full of joy. He looked up and saw 2 graceful, beautiful young girls walking hand in hand. Lu Yun recalled for a while, finally making these 2 people coincide with the figures in his mind. "Hello, Senior Brother Lu." The younger girl, Chen Menghan, cheerfully called out. The older girl, Chen Yasi, acted more composed and respectfully said, "I have met Saint Child." Lu Yun did not care about the different appellations, merely smiled and nodded in response. He saw that they had just come out of the Pill Medicine Building, so he asked, "What do you think of the Pill Medicine Building?" Since he had agreed to take on the position of the Pill Medicine Building's master and intended to improve and manage it well, it was necessary to conduct a preliminary investigation. The Chen sisters did not expect Lu Yun to suddenly ask such a question, and they were momentarily tongue-tied. At this time, they were unaware that Lu Yun had already taken on the role of the Pill Medicine Building's master. "It's alright, take your time to think about it. Whether the quality of the pills in Pill Medicine Building is up to standard, whether the types are complete, whether there are pills you want, and whether they can meet the needs of the Martial Academy disciples and so on." Lu Yun waved his hand and said, "Walk with me to the Pill Medicine Building and think as we go." "Yes, Saint Child." And so, Lu Yun led the Chen sisters into the Pill Medicine Building. "Greetings, Saint Child." "Greetings, Saint Child." Seeing Lu Yun entering, the Martial Academy disciples all greeted him respectfully. Lu Yun smiled and nodded, then led the 2 girls straight to the 3rd floor. Chapter 287. Terrifying Finger, Future Body? _3 Huang Qi's eyes widened with shock as he saw Lu Yun approaching, then recalling the incident in Straight Sun Hall a few days ago, he immediately bowed and said, "Greetings, Lord of the Pill Medicine Building." Upon hearing Huang Qi, the man in charge of the Pill Medicine Building, called Lu Yun Lord of the Pill Medicine Building, Chen Menghan and her sister's mouths gaped wide open in surprise. Lord of the Pill Medicine Building? Lu Yun is actually the Lord of the Pill Medicine Building? Little stars twinkled in Chen Menghan's eyes as she grew even more impressed by Lu Yun. Her sister, Chen Yaowei, thought to herself, "No wonder he is the Saint Child." "No need for formalities, Elder Huang." Lu Yun waved his hand and gestured for the 2 young women behind him to find a place to sit. "Lord, are you here to start taking charge of the Pill Medicine Building?" Huang Qi looked at Lu Yun before him, his heart filled with mixed feelings. Just a few days ago, Lu Yun had come to the pill medicine building to exchange pills with him personally. Who could have thought that in the span of a few days, he would transform from an ordinary disciple to the Lord of the Pill Medicine Building? Aside from being Lord of the Pill Medicine Building, he was also the Martial Academy's Saint Child. Lu Yun shook his head and smiled. I don't have that much time to manage the Pill Medicine Building, and I won't be staying in the Martial Academy for long. The future management of the Pill Medicine Building will still be your responsibility. All right, just let me know if there's anything you need, Huang Qi replied. Well, I need to collect all the 4th grade and above pill recipes and corresponding spirit herbs from the Pill Medicine Building, in preparing for a grand alchemy session, Lu Yun continued. Upon hearing this, Huang Qi's spirit was lifted, and he chuckled, Haha, as long as you say this, my lord, I can rest assured. The Pill Medicine Building's stockpile of spirit herbs has grown like a mountain due to the lack of high-level alchemists. I'll have someone arrange them. As for the pill recipes, I'll get them now. With that, Huang Qi hurriedly left and took a right turn outside the door. Though he was an elder of the Golden Body Realm, he was only a 4th grade alchemist in the field of alchemy, and could only refine some ordinary 4th grade pills. Nevertheless, he held the highest rank among the alchemists in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, which enabled him to manage the Pill Medicine Building for so many years. With what I've mentioned earlier, what are your thoughts, junior sisters? After Huang Qi left, Lu Yun turned his attention to Chen Menghan and Chen Yue. Chen Menghan, being relatively innocent and straightforward, replied, Senior brother Lu, everything about the Pill Medicine Building is good, except the prices that are too high. My sister and I had a hard time gathering enough contribution points, but we couldn't exchange many pills, as our points were exhausted. Well, that's one point, Lu Yun agreed, but changed the topic. However, the Pill Medicine Building has its reasons for setting these prices. If the prices are too low, it would result in Martial Academy disciples becoming too dependent on pills, which would be detrimental to their future martial arts development. Having exchanged many pills himself, Lu Yun believed that, if considered solely from the Pill Medicine Building's perspective, the contribution points required for each pill were not too high. In his case, he would exchange pills by the bottle, and often multiple bottles at a time. As for other Martial Academy disciples, although they couldn't accumulate contribution points as quickly as Lu Yun, exchanging a few pills at a time wouldn't be an issue. 4 pills that help with martial arts progression, it's best to take 3 or 4 pills within a major realm, which doesn't cause too much accumulated pill toxicity and still enables rapid improvements. As for Meridian Passage Realm disciples, they only need 120 contribution points for a bottle of Meridian pills, or 48 points for 4 pills. But we need a lot of contribution points for weapons and cultivation techniques, and we can't afford to spend extra points on exchanges for pills, Chen Menghan complained. Lu Yun simply smiled lightly, and he was determined not to make concessions regarding the contribution points needed to exchange pills. If he were to lower the prices, the Pill Medicine Building wouldn't be able to supply the numerous Martial Academy disciples. His main objectives in becoming the Lord of the Pill Medicine Building were twofold: to better accumulate energy points and to genuinely do something for the Martial Academy. Besides, his current accumulation of luck points was tied to the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. If the Flying Spirit Martial Academy grew stronger, he might accumulate luck points faster. But if supply exceeded demand and the disciples became too reliant on pills, how could the Flying Spirit Martial Academy grow stronger? How could he obtain more luck points? Not to mention, if the Academy's disciples exchanged more pills, Lu Yun himself would receive fewer as the Lord of the Pill Medicine Building. As for Chen Menghan's concern, Lu Yun had his own solution. Most of the pills he refined were of high quality, which could address the problem. However, he had plans of his own and didn't want to share them with the sisters just yet. Junior sister Yue, tell me your thoughts. Lu Yun shifted his gaze to Chen Yue. Saint Child, we're not very familiar with the situation at the Pill Medicine Building, but we can talk about our own experiences and those around us. Chen Yaowei was more cautious and attentive to detail. All right, feel free to speak your mind, Lu Yun encouraged. Chapter 288. Fifth Grade Alchemist, Discussion in the Imperial Court. After Chen Yaoxi's sisters left, Lu Yun fell into deep thought. The situation of the Pill Medicine Building was neither too complex nor too simple. It certainly couldn't be resolved in a short period of time. Firstly, there was a lack of variety in the pills, unable to meet diverse needs. Secondly, the quality was low, especially the pills for advancing cultivation. They contained many impurities, and each use required a lot of time to expel the pill toxins. In the end, it was due to the poor skills of the alchemists in the Pill Medicine Building. It was not so easy to improve their skills. The easiest way was to dismiss all the current alchemists and recruit new ones. However, within the Martial Academy, there were only a few alchemists, and it was already good to have these few. It would be easy for Lu Yun to improve the situation. With his status as an honorary executive of the Ling Province Alchemist Association's headquarters, he could invite some higher-level alchemists to the Pill Medicine Building. But would such a Pill Medicine Building still belong to the Martial Academy? This was obviously not possible. To forge iron, one must rely on their own strength. The only way was to improve the level of the alchemists in the Pill Medicine Building. And this was precisely the biggest difficulty. It was not easy to improve alchemy skills, and it was impossible to do so within a short period of time. Not everyone was as abnormal as Lu Yun, who could rely on adding points. Looking at it this way, the current problems faced by the Pill Medicine Building are somewhat unsolvable. Lu Yun stroked his chin, pondering. He could also personally refine the pills, but he didn't have that much time, and relying solely on him was not enough to maintain the operation of the Pill Medicine Building. At most, he could ensure that during his time in the Martial Academy, the supply of high-grade pills could be sufficient. If he was not around, they would have to trade with the Alchemist Association. Building Master, these are the pill recipes you requested, all above 4th grade. Huang Qi placed a pile of differently colored scrolls on the table. Lu Yun glanced over. There were only 14 scrolls. The green scrolls recorded the 4th grade pill recipes, with 7 in total. There were 5 blue scrolls for the 5th grade pill recipes. However, the shades of the blue scrolls differed. The light blue scrolls contained recipes for ordinary 5th grade pills, with 4 in total. The dark blue scroll contained the recipe for a top-notch 5th grade pill, with only 1. Lastly, there were 2 dark blue scrolls for the 6th grade pill recipes. Next, Huang Qi took out a sumi ring and handed it to Lu Yun. Building Master, these are all the 4th grade spirit herbs accumulated by the Pill Medicine Building. I have already instructed people to sort them out. You can check. Thank you, Elder Huang. Lu Yun took the sumi ring and immediately stood up, saying, Elder Huang, please take me to see the alchemy room. All right. Elder Huang. Saint Child has arrived. Huang Qi led Lu Yun to visit the alchemy rooms used by the alchemists of the Pill Medicine Building, and finally brought him to a separate alchemy room. This alchemy room used to belong to the building master of the Pill Medicine Building. Before, it was used exclusively by Huang Qi. However, now that Lu Yun had arrived, the ownership naturally had to be transferred. Lu Yun looked around. The layout of this alchemy room was similar to the one he had used in the Alchemist Association. There was a dedicated alchemy area, a cultivation room for meditation and recovery, and a separate storage room. Moreover, the alchemy furnace here looked more advanced. Building Master, have a look if you need to add any additional configurations. Lu Yun shook his head. This is good enough. From now on, I'll focus on refining pills. If nothing important arises, don't let others disturb me. Also, gather as many 4th grade spirit herbs as possible. All right, Building Master. After Huang Qi left, he faintly smiled. With such a hard-working building master, his burden was much lighter. All of you, listen well. No one is allowed to disturb the building master. Otherwise, you will be expelled from the pill medicine building. After giving this instruction, he left with peace of mind. The door of the alchemy room slowly closed, and Lu Yun opened his palm, randomly taking out a green scroll. It was the pill recipe for the recharge pill. Lu Yun's spiritual power swept over it, memorizing the content of the pill recipe, and then searched for the corresponding spirit herbs in the Sumi ring. As expected, all the spirit herbs were sorted properly, and there were about 20 sets of materials for refining recharge pills. The main constraint was due to the lack of another main ingredient. Otherwise, there would be more than 30 sets. Sharpening the knife does not slow the work of chopping wood. First, let's raise the alchemy technique to level 5. Thinking of this, Lu Yun opened the panel. Name, Lu Yun energy value, 4484, increase by 4 every day, skills. Level 4 alchemy technique, 81%. Each 100 energy value could raise the level 4 alchemy technique by 1%. The remaining energy value was more than enough to raise the alchemy technique to level 5. Upgrade. Consuming 4000 energy value. At the moment when his energy value dropped to 484, an image appeared in Lu Yun's mind. It was a middle-aged man in a gray robe who had been refining pills persistently for decades. Finally, when his hair turned white, he managed to advance his alchemy technique to the 4th rank. At the same time, his entire upgrade process was transformed into memories and surged into Lu Yun's mind. After digesting the memories, Lu Yun abruptly opened his eyes. His pupils had lost some of their childishness and gained an added touch of maturity and wisdom. Panel. Name, Lu Yun energy value, 484, increase by 4 every day, skills. Level 5 alchemy technique, 4%. With level 5 alchemy technique and 4th rank white lotus flame, what success rate can I achieve when refining high-quality 4th grade pills? Chapter 289. 5th grade alchemist, discussion in the Imperial Court _2 Lu Yun gave a faint smile, opened the furnace and began to refine pills. 2 days later, all the recharge pills were refined, and 20 jade bottles of green crystal were placed on the shelves around them. If one looked carefully, they could see that the color of 17 bottles was darker, while the other 2 had a lighter color. That's right, out of 20 sets of materials, not a single one was wasted, achieving a 100% success rate. Moreover, on average, 9 out of 10 master-grade pills were adorned with pill patterns. If Huang Qi saw such a high success rate, he would be astonished. If Elder Huang saw such a terrifying fraction of master pills, he would have to prostrate himself and say, "The leader is amazing, Saint Child is unmatched." Unfortunately, he could not see this scene, and he would not see these many pills in the end. "I'm a little tired, let's take a break." Lu Yun grabbed 10 bottles of pills and headed to the rest area. 10 bottles of pills, all of them master grade, were neatly placed in front of him. Looking at the crystal glittering pills in front of him, Lu Yun smiled faintly. These were his labor fees. Pure yang strong origin surged, enveloping the pills and starting the refinement process. About an hour later. Name, Lu Yun energy value, 20,484, increases by 4 every day, skill. Alchemy technique level 5, 4%. A normal 4th grade pill would yield 1,500 to 1,700 contribution points after refinement. But a master grade recharge pill would contribute 2,000 energy value per bottle. This was the advantage of master grade pills, and this was the role of a demonic alchemist. Continue to upgrade. Consume 10,000 energy value. Consume 10,000 energy value. Soon, 20,000 energy value was consumed. At the same time, a gray middle-aged man appeared in his mind, similar in appearance to the one who had appeared before. Seeing this figure, Lu Yun couldn't help but doubt his previous judgment, as the gray-robed middle-aged man didn't seem to have much resemblance to him, and he was a bit unrelated to his future self. Panel. Name: Lu Yun. Energy value: 484, increases by 4 every day. Skill: Alchemy Technique Level 5, 44%. To reach Level 5 in Alchemy Technique, you need to spend 500 energy value to advance by 1 progress. This consumption can't be considered small. However, only by honing the knife to the utmost can one cut more and better firewood. Lu Yun understood this very well. After resting for an hour and regaining his mental and physical strength, they were all back to their peak state, and Lu Yun continued to refine pills. As time passed, news quickly spread throughout Spirit Marshal Prefecture. After half a month of fierce battle, the king of Cloud Dream Mountain Range was killed by 2 Rune Seed Realm powerhouses of the Grey Wolf Army Group, hundreds of thousands of demon beasts were defeated, and the Black Tiger Army, with the help of the Grey Wolf Army Group, entered Cloud Dream Mountain Range. From then on, Cloud Dream Mountain Range was completely incorporated into Morijinling Province. A month after Lu Yun entered seclusion, another piece of news came out. General of Western Border, Chu Zhongtian, killed an 8th-stage fierce beast with his invincible strength and won great victory on the Narrow-Line Sky battlefield. With the momentum of the great victory, the main force of the Grey Wolf Army Group advanced deep into the 100,000 Mountains, and the Western Expedition Army pushed forward into the endless Great Wilderness, expanding the territory for Ling Province. In Morijin era, April of the 835th year. A month after Lu Yun entered seclusion, Ling Province established another prefecture, called Origin Marshal. Origin Marshal Prefecture was the 37th prefecture of Ling Province, and Duguchen, a member of the Dugu family, was appointed as the county governor by the Central Province Imperial Court. The Dugu family was one of the 10 major families in Central Province, and Duguchen was the eldest grandson of the family. He had an exceptional talent and was already in the middle stage of the Gold Body Realm at the age of 28. This appointment as the governor of Origin Marshal Prefecture was a perfect opportunity for him to gain experience. On the second day after the establishment of Origin Marshal Prefecture, the Grey Wolf Army Group wiped out the 5 major mountain ranges of 100,000 mountains and continued to advance further into the mountains. At the same time, the Morijin Demon Suppression Army began to assemble and dispatch troops, aimed at the 100 sects beyond the borders. Central Province Imperial Court. Civil and military officials gathered together. At the top of the royal throne, a man in a golden dragon robe with a coronet on his head, an awe-inspiring face, and eyes as vast as the starry sky, was seated on the throne, emitting a terrifying aura that made the civil and military officials in the hall not dare to look directly at him. Second-generation Emperor Morijin. At this moment, there was almost complete silence in the hall, with only one man in court robes stepping forward to report. A month ago, White Lotus sect activities were detected in all Ling Province counties, and many talented individuals were forcibly taken away. Worse yet, even county government offices were encroached upon. At the same time, other sect activities were discovered in Yu Province, Liang Province, Yong Province, Yu Province, and Yen Province in an attempt to take away Morijin's talents and seize the fate of the human race. I propose that the Morijin Demon Suppression Army should be completely mobilized to eradicate the 100 sects in one fell swoop, eliminating future troubles once and for all. After saying his piece, the man retreated to his former position. Emperor Yuan looked at the officials below, his expression unchanged. Gentlemen, what are your views on the matter of the 100 sects? Your Majesty. An elder wearing green court attire, with a white beard and a ruddy complexion, stepped forward from his side position. Our mighty Morijin is currently engaged in a full-scale battle against the demon beasts and deep in the 100,000 mountains and the endless great wilderness, already pushing to its limits. If we begin a conflict with the 100 sects as well, it may be detrimental to the battlefields in the 100,000 mountains and the endless great wilderness. In my humble opinion, the top priority of Morijin should be to drive away the demon beasts and expand our territory. As for the 100 sects, some deterrence from the demon suppression army should suffice. We need not irreparably damage our relationship with them. Chapter 290. Fifth Grade Alchemist, the debate of the Imperial Court _3. With that said, a minister stepped forward. I disagree with Imperial Censor Chen's opinion. The 100 sects are constantly sowing discord and ransacking people in our great marine territory, killing officials appointed by the court and trying to seize our fortune. It is absolutely clear that they have evil intentions. Moreover, under His Majesty's leadership, our great marine empire is growing stronger by the day, far beyond what the 100 sects and demon beasts can withstand. Senior Captain Gao Yuan spoke up, bowing his hands respectfully and making his case. I second that. We, too, second that. More than half of the officials in the hall supported Senior Captain Gao Yuan. The Emperor's expression remained unchanged. He turned his gaze to an aged, calm-faced minister who had been silent throughout the discussion. Prime Minister Hu, do you have anything to say regarding this matter? Upon hearing this, the elderly minister finally perked up and slowly bowed his hands. Your Majesty, since this matter concerns both the Demon Suppression Army and the Sky Patrol Office, I believe we should seek the opinions of their two commanders and the chief of the office. Well, the Yuan Emperor nodded slightly and glanced at an armored general whose presence was as majestic as the sun. This man was the commander of the Demon Suppression Army. Your Majesty, I believe that the 100 sects will always be a threat to our great marine empire. If not completely eradicated, they will undoubtedly shake our foundation. However, the influence of the 100 sects should not be underestimated, particularly the Red Moon Demon sect, the Heavenly Mystery Sword sect, and the Green Cloud sect, all of which have powerful celestial humans guarding them. Their sects' foundations are profound, backed by sect protection arrays and sect treasures. Although the Demon Suppression Army's strength can intimidate the 100 sects, if they were to engage in open warfare with them, they would be insufficient. Furthermore, with the Monster Extermination Army venturing into the Great Wilderness, continuous support is required. If the Demon Suppression Army were to wage war against the 100 sects as well, our great marine empire's current resources might be unable to endure. Upon hearing this, all the ministers in the hall fell into deep contemplation. They, of course, could also foresee this issue, but due to their different standpoints, their views also differed. The Emperor's expression remained calm as he turned to another elderly minister. Chief Yuan, what is your opinion? Your Majesty, based on the reports from various levels of Sky Patrol Guard and Sky Patrol Envoy, the 100 sects have infiltrated many areas, and some aristocratic families are even colluding with them. As such, the threat they pose is, indeed, no less than that of the demon beast. Yuan, he replied with a bow. As the head of the Sky Patrol Office, which oversees the entire nation, he was well aware of the situation in the 12 provinces of Marine and the harms the 100 sects could inflict. Just as everyone thought Yuan he would support a full-scale war against the 100 sects, he changed the topic. However, the provinces of Yu, Yen, and Ling are all currently engaged in warfare, and with the Monster Extermination Army delving deep into the endless Great Wilderness, nearly half of Marine's military force is tied up. At this time, if we were to wage a total war against the 100 sects without guaranteeing victory, fighting on two fronts might completely mire Marine in the quagmire of war. If those opportunistic aristocratic families were to collude with the 100 sects at that time, the consequences would be dire. However, the 100 sects have been eyeing our great Marine with malicious intent, repeatedly abducting our people and killing our court-appointed officials. If we do not take any action, they will only grow bolder. Therefore, I believe we should mobilize the Demon Suppression Army to eliminate the White Lotus sect and the Red Moon Demon sect, among others, to deter the 100 sects and display the might of our great marine empire. I second that. We, too, second that. At that moment, with the exception of the senior captain and the Prime Minister, the officials in the hall voiced their support for Yuan He. The Yuan Emperor pondered for a moment. The 100 sects are indeed a scourge to our human race, a predicament no less than that of the demon beast. Therefore, our great marine cannot tolerate them, and our rivalry cannot be reconciled. However, our current main objective is to expel the demon beasts and expand Marine's territory. Once our great marine has established its rule over 3 more provinces, we will surely wipe out the 100 sects in one fell swoop. Upon saying this, the Yuan Emperor stood up from his throne, and a deeply gripping, domineering imperial aura erupted from him. Prime Minister Hu. Recognizing his cue, the composed Hu Xiu immediately perked up. At your service. I command you to do your utmost in allocating the resources of Marine's 12 provinces, ensuring that the demon suppression army can set forth within a month. Can you achieve this? With a bow, Hu Xiu answered, Your Majesty, rest assured, I will not lag behind. The Yuan Emperor nodded subtly, and his eyes fell upon the commander of the demon suppression army. Xiahou Shu, step forward to accept your command. Upon hearing this, Xiahou Shu stepped forward. At your service. I command you to lead the demon suppression army's campaign against the 100 sects. You must see to it that they cower in fear for 100, even 1,000 years and never dare to return to our great marine. Can you accomplish this? I shall certainly fulfill my mission. Xiahou Shu solemnly accepted his command. Excellent. With a satisfied nod, the Yuan Emperor turned his gaze to 2 other figures. These 2 individuals were the Dean of the Origin Martial Academy, Wu Wudi, and the President of the Alchemist Union, Gu Chenfeng. How are the preparations for the Martial Academy and the Alchemist Union coming along? I have passed on Your Majesty's orders to martial academies across all 12 provinces. On the day the Demon Suppression Army departs, our Martial Academy will mobilize at least 36 Rune Seed Realm experts and 1,000 Gold Body Realm martial artists, Wu Wudi said indifferently. Gu Chenfeng also replied, The Alchemist Union will definitely ensure a steady supply of pills for the Demon Suppression Army. The Yuan Emperor nodded in satisfaction. Good. As long as our great marine remains united, there is nothing to fear from the demon beasts or the 100 sects. Chapter 290. 5th Grade Alchemist, the debate of the Imperial Court _3. With that said, a minister stepped forward. I disagree with Imperial Censor Qin's opinion. The 100 sects are constantly sowing discord and ransacking people in our great marine territory, killing officials appointed by the court and trying to seize our fortune. It is absolutely clear that they have evil intentions. Moreover, under His Majesty's leadership, our great marine empire is growing stronger by the day, far beyond what the 100 sects and demon beasts can withstand. Senior Captain Gao Yuan spoke up, bowing his hands respectfully and making his case. I second that. We, too, second that. More than half of the officials in the hall supported Senior Captain Gao Yuan. The Emperor's expression remained unchanged. He turned his gaze to an aged, calm-faced minister who had been silent throughout the discussion. Prime Minister Hu, do you have anything to say regarding this matter? Upon hearing this, the elderly minister finally perked up and slowly bowed his hands. Your Majesty, since this matter concerns both the Demon Suppression Army and the Sky Patrol Office, I believe we should seek the opinions of their 2 commanders and the chief of the office. Well. The Yuan Emperor nodded slightly and glanced at an armored general whose presence was as majestic as the sun. This man was the commander of the Demon Suppression Army. Your Majesty, I believe that the 100 sects will always be a threat to our great marine empire. If not completely eradicated, they will undoubtedly shake our foundation. However, the influence of the 100 sects should not be underestimated, particularly the Red Moon Demon sect, the Heavenly Mystery Sword sect, and the Green Cloud sect, all of which have powerful celestial humans guarding them. Their sect's foundations are profound, backed by sect protection arrays and sect treasures. Although the demon suppression army's strength can intimidate the 100 sects, if they were to engage in open warfare with them, they would be insufficient. Furthermore, with the monster extermination army venturing into the great wilderness, continuous support is required. If the demon suppression army were to wage war against the 100 sects as well, our great marine empire's current resources might be unable to endure. Upon hearing this, all the ministers in the hall fell into deep contemplation. They, of course, could also foresee this issue, but due to their different standpoints, their views also differed. The emperor's expression remained calm as he turned to another elderly minister. Chief Yuan, what is your opinion? Your Majesty, based on the reports from various levels of Sky Patrol Guard and Sky Patrol Envoy, the 100 sects have infiltrated many areas, and some aristocratic families are even colluding with them. As such, the threat they pose is, indeed, no less than that of the demon beast. Yuan, he replied with a bow. As the head of the Sky Patrol Office, which oversees the entire nation, he was well aware of the situation in the 12 provinces of Marine and the harms the 100 sects could inflict. Just as everyone thought Yuan he would support a full-scale war against the 100 sects, he changed the topic. However, the provinces of Yu, Yen, and Ling are all currently engaged in warfare, and with the monster extermination army delving deep into the endless great wilderness, nearly half of Marine's military force is tied up. At this time, if we were to wage a total war against the 100 sects without guaranteeing victory, fighting on two fronts might completely mire Marine in the quagmire of war. If those opportunistic aristocratic families were to collude with the 100 sects at that time, the consequences would be dire. However, the 100 sects have been eyeing our great Marine with malicious intent, repeatedly abducting our people and killing our court-appointed officials. If we do not take any action, they will only grow bolder. Therefore, I believe we should mobilize the Demon Suppression Army to eliminate the White Lotus sect and the Red Moon Demon sect, among others, to deter the 100 sects and display the might of our great Marine Empire. I second that. We, too, second that. At that moment, with the exception of the senior captain and the Prime Minister, the officials in the hall voiced their support for Yuan He. The Yuan Emperor pondered for a moment. The 100 sects are indeed a scourge to our human race, a predicament no less than that of the demon beast. Therefore, our great Marine cannot tolerate them, and our rivalry cannot be reconciled. However, our current main objective is to expel the demon beasts and expand Marine's territory. Once our great Marine has established its rule over 3 more provinces, we will surely wipe out the 100 sects in one fell swoop. Upon saying this, the Yuan Emperor stood up from his throne, and a deeply gripping, domineering imperial aura erupted from him. Prime Minister Hu. Recognizing his cue, the composed Hu Xiu immediately perked up. At your service. I command you to do your utmost in allocating the resources of Marine's 12 provinces, ensuring that the Demon Suppression Army can set forth within a month. Can you achieve this? With a bow, Hu Xiu answered, Your Majesty, rest assured, I will not lag behind. The Yuan Emperor nodded subtly, and his eyes fell upon the commander of the Demon Suppression Army. Xiahou Shu, step forward to accept your command. Upon hearing this, Xiahou Shu stepped forward. At your service. I command you to lead the Demon Suppression Army's campaign against the 100 sects. You must see to it that they cower in fear for 100, even 1,000 years and never dare to return to our great Marine. Can you accomplish this? I shall certainly fulfill my mission. Xiahou Shu solemnly accepted his command. Excellent. With a satisfied nod, the Yuan Emperor turned his gaze to 2 other figures. These 2 individuals were the Dean of the Origin Martial Academy, Wu Wudi, and the President of the Alchemist Union, Gu Chenfeng. How are the preparations for the Martial Academy and the Alchemist Union coming along? I have passed on your Majesty's orders to martial academies across all 12 provinces. On the day the Demon Suppression Army departs, our martial academy will mobilize at least 36 Rune Seed Realm experts and 1,000 Gold Body Realm martial artists, Wu Wudi said indifferently. Gu Chunfeng also replied, the Alchemist Union will definitely ensure a steady supply of pills for the Demon Suppression Army. The Yuan Emperor nodded in satisfaction. Good. As long as our great Marine remains united, there is nothing to fear from the demon beasts or the 100 sects. Chapter 292, Twin Blade Men? Challenge Lu Yun? _2 If he had reached the Golden Body Realm by then, despite his monstrous talent, it wouldn't have been so shocking. According to what the Elder said, Lu Yun is still in the transforming origin realm, but he is the most powerful within this realm in Ling Province. His battle strength can compete with that of the Golden Body Realm. For someone in the transforming origin realm to rival the Golden Body Realm, it's unprecedented, unseen. I'm afraid it's not just in Ling Province, even in places like Qing Province and Wu Province where martial arts are more developed, there isn't such a powerful individual in the transforming origin realm. What's most unbelievable is that Saint Child's alchemy technique is so monstrous it's abnormal. Nearly all the elixirs he makes are premium quality pills with pill patterns. Senior Brother Qin, if you don't believe it, you can go to the pill medicine building right now. Nearly all the 4th grade and 5th grade pills there are pure quality. Alright, I'll go and see whether this Lu Yun is as monstrously talented as you say. Qin Wuming flicked his robe and stepped towards the pill medicine building. Just after entering the pill medicine building, Qin Wuming saw many familiar faces. Most of these were martial academy disciples in the transforming origin realm and origin fluid realm, who had once competed with him. He didn't expect them all to gather in the pill medicine building today, which was indeed unusual. Senior Brother Qin? As soon as Qin Wuming entered, he was recognized by a young man wearing linen clothes and a straw hat. Junior Brother Gongliang Jin? Seeing this young man, Qin Wuming felt a sudden chill in his heart and also exclaimed in surprise. Gongliang Jin was his only rival in the martial academy. It was either him suppressing Gongliang Jin, or the other way round. It's worth mentioning that his weapon was a sword, and Gongliang Jin's was a saber. The two were referred to by other martial academy disciples as the Twin Blade Men. However, Gongliang Jin vanished without a trace since traveling after breaking through to the origin fluid realm, and had not appeared since. Haha, it's been 5 years. I wonder how much progress Senior Brother Qin has made in his sword techniques. Gongliang Jin walked over, his gaze scrutinizing Qin Wuming. Qin Wuming was also curious about how much Gongliang Jin had developed in these years, and similarly examined him closely. The aura on Gongliang Jin's body was inscrutable even to him, unless they personally sparred to know the specifics. However, from this alone, he knew that Gongliang Jin's strength was definitely not much weaker than his, even if it was not stronger. We will spar someday again, but today I have another task to do. As he said this, Qin Wuming's gaze became icy cold, lightly scanning the other places. Oh, so Senior Brother Qin has the same idea as me? Gongliang Jin held his long saber in one arm and stroked his chin with the other hand, speaking with great interest. That's right, I want to see what this junior brother Lu Yun looks like, whether he has grown 3 heads and 6 arms. And maybe have a little sparring session with him too. Exactly. Qin Wuming's face was solemn, and his tone serious. Of course, their appearance drew the attention of the other people in the pill medicine building. These 2 guys are back. A young man in a corner looked bitter, but a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth as he thought of something. Hee, no matter how strong you are, you're still overshadowed by a junior brother who has just entered the academy. But this junior brother is indeed very capable, even a top-tier 5th grade pill. He can make a premium elixir. 3rd floor of the pill medicine building. Huang Qi was lying quietly on a recliner, flipping through a book about elixirs and various spirit herbs. Elder, something's wrong. A disciple rushed in through the door, looking anxious. What's the rush? Huang Qi put the book away on a table next to him, speaking somewhat angrily. Rushing in nervously, didn't even knock on the door. Such manners, if you barged into the owner's room like this, see if I wouldn't kick you out. The disciple carefully glanced at Huang Qi and saw that he wasn't truly angry before he quietly said, Elder, the pill medicine building is now overcrowded with a lot of disciples. Overcrowded? Huang Qi sat upright, his eyelids lifted, saying, All here to exchange for elixirs? Do they have that many contribution points? He knew that right now in the pill medicine building, almost all the 4th and 5th grade elixirs were pure quality. 4th and 5th grade elixirs are expensive, even a random one requires a lot of contribution points, not to mention pure quality elixirs. Ordinary disciples wouldn't have so many contribution points to exchange. No, I heard them say there are 2 senior brothers here to look for the owner, and they even mentioned him by name. Other disciples said that those 2 senior brothers even want to cause trouble for the owner. Huang Qi's eyebrows knitted, a touch of anger showing in his eyes. He coldly said, Who dares to be so bold, to challenge even the saint child? Did they eat the heart of a leopard, or something? Let's go, come with me to see. With a wave of his sleeve, Huang Qi went downstairs in a huff. During this time, he had witnessed Lu Yun's terrifying alchemy level. 4th grade elixirs with a nearly 90% purity rate. Ordinary 5th grade elixirs, also having about an 80% purity rate. Even for top-tier 5th grade elixirs, there was a nearly 70% purity rate. This alchemy level was simply terrifying, abnormal, and monstrous. The only thing that seemed lacking was that the percentage yield seemed a bit low, only around 50 to 60%. However, a yield of 50 to 60% is the normal level for most alchemists. But which alchemist could produce so many pure quality elixirs? Therefore, in Huang Qi's mind, he deeply respected Lu Yun. Now that there are disciples who can't recognize good from bad causing trouble, it meant they were at odds with him, Huang Qi. Chapter 293. Twin Swordsmanship? Challenge Lu Yun? _3 Huang Qi went downstairs and, as expected, saw many disciples crowding both inside and outside the pill medicine building. His eyebrows rose questioningly. What are you all doing here? If you're not here to exchange pills, get back to your cultivation, or go to the task hall and accept a mission. Elder. Greetings, Elder Huang. Many Martial Academy disciples greeted Huang Qi with a courteous bow, opening a path for him, while a few others stood still. These few had the lowest cultivation at the Origin Fluid Realm's middle stage. Among them, Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin were the most unfathomable. Just as Huang Qi's gaze landed on the 2. With just one glance, his heart was struck with an intense ripple of surprise. Elder Huang. Qin Wuming greeted with a slight bow. Gongliang Jin also took off his straw hat, showing a grin to Huang Qi. Long time no see, Elder Huang. Do you still remember me? I was wondering who would dare to cause trouble here in the pill medicine building. Turns out it's you too. Huang Qi couldn't help but smile. Both Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin were top-notch figures in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Moreover, after just one glance, he knew that their strength had already surpassed his own. Elder Huang jest. We're just curious about junior brother Lu and want to get to know him better, maybe even spar with him. Gongliang Jin said with a faint smile. Lu Yun is not only the owner of the pill medicine building, but he is also the Martial Academy's saint child. Even if I were to meet him, I'd have to respectfully refer to him as either owner or saint child. How could it be so easy for you to challenge him? Moreover, you're aware that he is only in the transforming origin realm now. Even if his combat strength is incredible, he is at best on par with an average gold body realm. Huang Qi advised, I suggest you let go of any little schemes. There is only one saint child in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy that suits Lu Yun. Otherwise, the dean might have already appointed a saint child by now. Upon hearing this, Qin Wuming's face showed uneasiness, and Gongliang Jin's expression was also somewhat awkward. But they had to admit that Huang Qi was right. If a saint child could have been appointed, then it would have already been appointed from among the two of them. It wouldn't have been delayed until now. But, after years of honing their skills, they've returned to compete for the title of saint child once again. How could they simply give up? Those who wear the crown must bear the weight. If he wants to secure the position of saint child, he must display the strength that convinces us. Otherwise, how could Gongliang Jin and I rest assured to have him represent the Flying Spirit Martial Academy in the world? Qin Wuming spoke coldly. The saint child not only represents the Flying Spirit Martial Academy but is also a symbol of martial arts prowess. In any case, he must accept our test. Gongliang Jin held his sword to the side, a playful smile on his face. His intention was clear. He shared the same attitude as Qin Wuming. The surrounding transforming Origin Realm and Origin Fluid Realm disciples all wore expressions as if they were watching a good show. Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin were once ferocious powerhouses that dominated the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's disciples, with unparalleled talents and extraordinary strength that had long been deeply rooted in people's hearts. However, Lu Yun was not to be underestimated. They had heard about this influential figure even during their time in the narrow-line sky battlefield. Just think about it. Only at the transforming Origin Realm and his reputation had already spread throughout Ling Province. This was not something that Qin Wuming or Gongliang Jin could have achieved in the past. If you want to challenge the Saint Child, you can do so. However, you'll need his consent. Huang Qi knew that he would not be able to resolve this issue and didn't want to deal with it any further. He decided to toss the problem directly to them. I'm sure he won't refuse, Gongliang Jin said confidently with a faint smile on his face. Flying Spirit Martial Academy. On the back mountain, Thousand Extremes Cliff. The thick fog enveloped the bottomless valley, and the golden sunlight cast a dazzling glow over the vast sea of clouds, creating an incredibly beautiful sight. On the summit of the Thousand Extremes Cliff, Lu Yun sat cross-legged with his eyes tightly closed atop a tall piece of jade-like stone. The purple mystic robe fluttered in the wind, his waterfall-like black hair slightly lifted, revealing an increasingly handsome and sharp face. Chapter 294. Breaking through the original liquid, causing a huge stir. Name: Lu Yun. Power: Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Cultivation Technique: Pure Yang Martial Cannon, Origin Fluid Chapter, Pre-Entry. Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, 5th Layer. Demolition 100%. Life Destruction Saber Techniques, 1st Layer. One Strike Ends Sins 100%. Wind Thunder Manual, 2nd Layer. 3000 Thunder Movement, 100%. Fist Scripture, 1st Layer. Red Sun Breaks the Sky 10%. Finger Scripture, 1st Layer. Formless Tribulation Finger 100%. Innate Talent. Level 8 Martial Arts, Transforming Origin Realm Extreme Realm Energy Value. I-55,000 automatically increases by 4 per day. Conception. Slaughter Conception, 3rd rank 35%. Thunder Conception, 2nd rank 27%. Skill. Level 6 Alchemy Technique, 1%. Talent. White Lotus Flame, 4th rank 1%. Luck Value. 45 Martial Academy's Saint Child, increases by 1 every day. Looking at the massive energy value on the panel and the level 6 Alchemy Technique, Lu Yun felt that his tiredness and bitterness over the past month had not been in vain. No one knew how hard it was to practice alchemy except for him. Manipulating the White Lotus Flame and the bursting spiritual power. However, it's been more than a month since my last breakthrough. It's time to break through again. Lu Yun's eyes were incredibly deep. Upgrade. In an instant, 1,000 energy points were consumed, and the pure yang martial cannon original liquid chapter entry level was achieved. Consume 10,000 energy points. Consume. The morning mist was golden with sunlight piercing through the clouds. No one could see the figure enveloped in a golden light atop Thousand Extremes cliff. Suddenly, the wind began to blow and the clouds surged. Taking the peak of Thousand Extremes cliff as the center, a strong storm began to stir. The boundless sea of clouds rolled, and the white mist shrouding the canyon was dispersed. In a sweep, the surrounding heavenly and earthly spiritual chi seemed to be attracted by a great force, converging from all directions in one direction. Tens of miles, hundreds of miles, finally thousands of miles around Thousand Extremes cliff, the heavenly and earthly spiritual chi was being pulled, like a flood rushing towards Lu Yun. As the energy value was continuously consumed, the pure yang martial cannon origin fluid chapter went from entry level to small achievement, and further upgraded to great accomplishment. As the pure yang martial cannon origin fluid chapter reached great accomplishment, his breath was no longer suppressed. The golden light around him became even more intense, completely surpassing the gradually rising sun on the mountains. Boom! The pure yang strong origin within the dantian began to liquefy rapidly. Golden liquid spread at the bottom of the dantian, forming a golden stream. The stream began to converge, gathering in the lowest part to form a small golden pond. The inexhaustible golden stream from afar converged into Xiaohe, which then expanded into a river, rushing toward Lu Yun. The golden pond quickly expanded into a golden lake. On the lake's surface, the waves were tumultuous, rising and falling. After the pure yang strong origin was completely liquefied, the golden lake transformed into an ocean. This was the Yuan Hai of the Origin Fluid Realm powerhouse. It was said that the warriors of the Origin Fluid Realm have inexhaustible true origin. The stronger the Origin Fluid Realm warriors, the deeper and broader their Yuan Hai becomes. Lu Yun's Yuan Hai was now more extensive and deeper than those at the peak of the Origin Fluid Realm. Moreover, Lu Yun's Yuan Hai was still continuing to improve, and his body was also undergoing transformation. For every breakthrough a martial artist made, the heavenly and earthly spiritual chi and newly formed true origin would cleanse and temper the body. Lu Yun absorbed more heavenly and earthly spiritual chi, the pure yang strong origin was more pure, and the tempering effect was stronger. The sun gradually rose, time passed quietly like water and sand. The range of the heavenly and earthly spiritual chi was affected, and the movement caused by Lu Yun's breakthrough became more and more terrifying. Moreover, this upgrade was from the transforming Origin Realm Extreme Realm to the late stage of the Origin Fluid Realm. With the base of Lu Yun's Yuan Hai, the amount of heavenly and earthly spiritual chi needed to upgrade to the late stage of the Origin Fluid Realm was enormous. On the other side, Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin hurried to the back mountain after learning about Lu Yun from Huang Qi. Meanwhile, those old disciples who were eager for excitement rushed to the scene. Having just experienced the front-line battlefield, most of the disciples returned to the martial academy to consolidate their cultivation, making almost all the higher-ranked disciples gather at the martial academy. At the same time, news of the twin blade men attempting to challenge the Saint Child spread like a storm throughout the martial academy. Other than those newly enrolled disciples, everyone in the martial academy knew about the reputation and rumors of the twin blade men. Not to mention Lu Yun's fame. It showed how significant the sudden storm was. I heard that the Saint Child is in the back mountain cultivating. Senior brother Qin Wuming and senior brother Gongliang Jin have already set off. We should hurry because we don't want to miss this once-in-century event. Haha, to be honest, I've never actually seen what the Saint Child looks like. I'm going to see what kind of person is worthy of being chosen by the Dean as the first Saint Child of Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Qin Wuming reached the Golden Body Realm 3 years ago. After 3 years of experience, he should be at least in the middle stage of the Golden Body Realm. With the addition of the sword intent, even the late-stage Golden Body Realm fighters might not be his match. I'm curious to see how the Saint Child will handle it. A series of figures turned into light, heading towards the back mountain of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. The back mountain was vast, with many peaks. Finding someone aimlessly was like looking for a needle in a haystack. I made a mistake. I should have asked Elder Huang for Lu Yun's seclusion location. Gongyang Jin thought as he flew through the air. Chapter 295. Breaking through the original liquid, causing a huge stir. 2 However, at that moment, he suddenly sensed something and stopped, looking towards the highest peak. His gaze pierced through the obstacles, finally discerning some movement. That's a storm? And it seems like a storm of heavenly and earthly spiritual chi. Muttering to himself, he stepped into the void, crossing thousands of feet in just a dozen steps. If I'm not mistaken, this direction should be the Thousand Extremes cliff. Driven by intense curiosity, he swiftly approached. At the same time, Qin Wuming, who had also been searching for Lu Yun's traces, discovered the fluctuations of heavenly and earthly spiritual chi coming from the Thousand Extremes cliff and quickly headed in that direction. Golden Body Realm experts can easily travel tens of thousands of miles a day, and it wasn't long before he met with Gongyang Jin. What is the situation ahead? Qin Wuming's gaze fell upon Gongyang Jin, asking nonchalantly. Gongyang Jin stood in the sky with his long saber in his back, wearing a plain robe fluttering without wind, staring down at the center of the storm. There, all things were concealed, and heavenly and earthly spiritual chi surged wildly, almost liquefying. The only visible thing was the dazzling golden light radiating from it, like a bright sun atop the Thousand Extremes cliff, exuding an awe-inspiring aura. Our junior brother Lu is not simple. Gongyang Jin's expression became somewhat solemn, lacking the casualness he had before. Qin Wuming frowned, following Gongyang Jin's gaze and seeing the brilliant golden light and the magnificent scene. His heart stirred. The powerful storm above the Thousand Extremes cliff had almost gathered half of the mountain's heavenly and earthly spiritual chi to form such a huge scale. How profound must one's foundation be to cause such a commotion during their breakthrough? Thinking of this, his face became even darker. Over the past 3 years, he had traveled through Ling, Yan, and Yu provinces, witnessing various heavenly prides and demonic talents, but he had never seen anyone with a terrifying foundation like Lu Yun. With this thought in mind, his grip on his sword tightened and his fighting spirit grew stronger, his aura inadvertently rising, causing the void above and below him to tremble. Senior Brother Qin, don't act recklessly. Lu Yun is currently in a critical breakthrough stage. If we disturb him now, we might be blamed and even punished by the Dean. Gongyang Jin reminded Qin Wuming casually while glancing at him. Don't worry, I know my limits. Qin Wuming's eyes were sharp as he restrained his fighting spirit, standing tall in the sky with an otherworldly air. As the fluctuations of heavenly and earthly spiritual chi increased, many Martial Academy disciples rushed to the scene. This commotion, could it be that Saint Child is about to make another breakthrough? It was known by everyone that Lu Yun had just made a breakthrough last month, and it had shocked many Golden Body Realm elders in the Martial Academy. Even the old dean was startled. But now, just a month later, he was about to make another breakthrough. And the commotion this time was 5 or 6 times stronger than the last. Especially when they saw almost half of the mountain's heavenly and earthly spiritual chi surging towards it, the Martial Academy disciples were all dumbfounded. This breakthrough was simply too terrifying. If there were 5 or 6 Martial Academy disciples breaking through like this, the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's heavenly and earthly spiritual chi would be completely drained, leaving nothing for others to cultivate. He's breaking through so quickly, truly extraordinary talent. Lei Kang exclaimed, considering Lu Yun's horrendous foundation and the commotion caused by his breakthrough, he might reach at least the late stage of the Origin Fluid Realm. Even though he was already a peak expert in the golden body realm, having seen many geniuses and demonic prodigies, he had never encountered one with such a deep foundation in the transforming origin realm. Master, do you think Lu Yun could be the reincarnation of a celestial human, as rumored? Lei Keng looked up at Yi Xingqian in reverence. Celestial human? Yi Xingqian shook his head slightly. It's hard to say, hard to say. I have lived for hundreds of years, but I know very little about celestial humans. However, one thing is certain. Lu Yun is a disciple of Flying Spirit Martial Academy and also our Martial Academy's Saint Child, so the Academy shares his glory. At this moment, atop the sky-defying cliff, the yuan high within Lu Yun's body continued to rise rapidly, soon surpassing the height of 20 feet. According to the foundation he had built in the transforming origin realm, a 90 feet yuan high signified perfection in the origin fluid realm, with 99 feet being the ultimate boundary. At this point, his 20 feet yuan high was still far from the midpoint, let alone the late stage of the origin fluid realm. If it wasn't for the energy points, I don't know when I would be able to accumulate such a yuan high to reach perfection. While Lu Yun was delighted by his powerful foundation, he was also immensely astonished. He didn't know the difference between his yuan high and that of other origin fluid realm martial artists, but he had a premonition. One of his yuan high could be worth dozens or even hundreds of those of other origin fluid realm martial artists. Apart from that, the commotion caused by his breakthrough alone was not something that could be achieved by dozens of origin fluid realm martial artists breaking through concurrently. The sun slowly set in the west, and then gradually sank below the mountain. Lu Yun's breakthrough had not yet ended, and the unceasing flow of rich heavenly and earthly spiritual qi surged towards the summit of the sky-defying cliff where he was. The intensity of the heavenly and earthly spiritual qi was enough to drive any transforming origin realm martial artist mad. As the sun set and the moon rose, the vast starry sky was incredibly silent, but the mountain range beneath it was not very calm. Almost a majority of the Martial Academy's disciples and elders were drawn to the back of the mountain by the commotion caused by Lu Yun's breakthrough. This was also the time when the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's defense was at its weakest. If an enemy invaded, it would be effortless to break into the academy. On the second day, the sun once again rose high above the sea of clouds. However, the figure at the top of sky-defying cliff still remained motionless, enveloped in scorching golden light, madly absorbing the nearly liquefied heavenly and earthly spiritual qi that continuously poured in. At the same time, the aura emanating from his body grew stronger and stronger, giving off an overwhelming sense of oppression even from afar. It's been almost a day, Saint Child still hasn't finished his breakthrough, an origin fluid realm junior muttered, not even realizing that he had already unconsciously addressed Lu Yun as Saint Child. He wasn't the only one feeling this way, the other established origin fluid realm disciples felt the same. In their hearts, Lu Yun had already become an insurmountable mountain. At this moment, even the troublemakers, Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin, were beginning to feel uneasy. After continuously breaking through for an entire day and night under such dense heavenly and earthly spiritual qi, and still not done, let alone reaching the late stage of origin fluid realm, just how terrifying was his yuan high? They didn't know. However, one thing was certain. In their hearts they had once again upgraded the threat that Lu Yun posed, even placing him on equal footing with themselves. Chapter 296. Late Origin Fluid Realm, 3 million caddies of tremendous power. Time gradually passed. Almost all the transforming Origin Realm and True Qi Realm disciples in Martial Academy gathered at the back mountain, eager to witness this miraculous scene. They had no choice but to come, because as the movement of Lu Yun's breakthrough became bigger and bigger, the heavenly and earthly spiritual qi surged toward this direction. Even in places like Star Tower with spirit gathering arrays, the spiritual energy they could obtain was very little. This kind of breakthrough was so overbearing that even the spirit-gathering arrays could not compete. By Haoxuan, Ma Yunfei, Gu Yuan, Bailey Yi and other rising stars, as well as Duan Qing, Qin Yun, Meng Hongfei and others who were familiar with Lu Yun, all gathered at the foot of Thousand Extremes Cliff, watching Lu Yun's body wrapped in golden light, brutally absorbing the heavenly and earthly spiritual qi. Bai Haoxuan and Ma Yunfei were here for the spectacle. Duan Qing, Meng Hongfei and others hoped that Lu Yun would become even stronger, while Bailey Yi and Gu Yuan showed admiration. Although Gu Yuan had become a disciple of Dean Yixingchen, in his heart, he had always regarded Lu Yun as his senior brother. Bailey Yi not only regarded Lu Yun as his senior brother but also always saw catching up with Lu Yun as a source of motivation for his cultivation. Regardless of what others thought, Lu Yun's cultivation was not affected by anyone. In his mind, his spiritual power surged after breaking through. His sea of consciousness space underwent another transformation, and his spiritual power became even more condensed. He could vaguely sense the existence of the great forces of heaven and earth around him, the forces of mountains and rivers, and the forces of wind and clouds. Stepping from the transforming origin realm to the origin fluid realm not only transformed true origin into liquid but also brought one closer to the forces of heaven and earth in the grand scheme of things. Lu Yun was now rapidly approaching the late stage of the origin fluid realm, with his sea of consciousness space undergoing earth-shattering changes, his spiritual power skyrocketing and becoming more condensed, able to detect the great forces of heaven and earth and the omnipresent forces of heaven and earth. It seemed that as long as he reached out a little, he could touch it. At the same time, after being washed by the heavenly and earthly spiritual qi and tempered by a large amount of pure yang strong origin, his bones became even more crystal clear, his blood becoming even more robust, with golden blood surging and crashing through his blood vessels. At this moment, the Yuan Hai in his dantian, which had grown to more than 60 feet high, became extremely turbulent. A tremendous suction force emerged from his body and swept in all directions in an instant. The already turbulent heavenly and earthly spiritual qi became even more frantic, forming dragon-like and serpent-like shapes, coiling and roaring as they went, their roars shaking the heavens, and the momentum shaking the sky and the earth. The golden light emanating from Lu Yun's body reached its pinnacle, completely overshadowing the sunlight of the sun in the sky, as if Lu Yun, who was lying across the top of Thousand Extremes Cliff, was the real, eternal sun. Humming sounds. The vast heavenly and earthly spiritual qi was transformed into a liquid golden pure yang strong origin, forming a mighty torrent of rivers surging into the Yuan Hai, with the height of the Yuan Hai constantly being elevated and the surface boiling and surging, setting off gigantic waves. The grand momentum emanated from the flesh and echoed through the majestic and magnificent Thousand Extremes Cliff, and under the reflection of the cliff walls, heavy and muffled sounds spread in all directions. A Yuan Hai that is nearly 70 feet high. Lu Yun roared inwardly. He could feel in the Yuan Hai that the vast surface of the Yuan Hai constantly had golden aura origin fierce tigers being born, one after another. These golden aura origin fierce tigers roared, traveled along his meridians, and merged into his flesh. His physical strength and intensity were constantly increasing. If his guess was correct, his physical strength was at least 5 times more vigorous than before the breakthrough. A casual punch could produce a force of more than 1 million kilograms. At full strength, it was probably infinitely close to 2 million kilograms. The golden body realm was known for its powerful physical strength. However, a typical golden body realm martial artist would never have a physical strength of more than 250,000 kilograms when they first entered the golden body realm. The limit of the golden body realm's midstage would be only 1 million kg of force. The limit of the golden body realm's late stage would not exceed 2 million kg now. Lu Yun's pure physical strength could rival the late stage of the golden body realm. However, He had only just stepped into the late stage of the origin fluid realm. His physical body had become this strong even without condensing a gold body, which was even more terrifying than some heavenly pride with powerful physique. It was simply outrageous. Boom! Lu Yun stood up, with golden light surging around his body. He jumped off the bluestone, and the bluestone shattered. He clenched his fist, wanting to test what level his strength had reached and whether his previous feeling was an illusion or reality. Holy shit! What is that? At this moment, whether it was the Golden Body Realm powerhouses hovering in the sky, or the Origin Fluid Realm and transforming Origin Realm Martial Academy disciples on the ground, or even the eyes of Yi Xingqian, they all revealed a look of shock. That was because they saw that Lu Yun, without the aid of any external forces, actually floated in the air. Around his body, streams of air rolled, and golden aura origin fierce tigers roared and emerged, surrounding him. Humming sounds, an invisible force set the air currents spinning, sweeping the summit of Thousand Extremes cliff into a storm center. Ha ha ha, let's see what level my strength has reached. Lu Yun's mouth let out a hearty laughter. He moved his body, dove down, and threw a punch at the opposite towering cliff wall from a distance. Boom! That powerful force, along with countless roaring golden aura origin fierce tigers, instantly condensed into a huge fist print several feet wide in the air, crashing into the 10,000-meter-high cliff. Immediately, the mountain crumbled and the ground cracked, boulders spattered, the 10,000-meter cliff collapsed, and the ground within a radius of several hundred miles shook madly. Chapter 297. Late stage of Yuan Fluid Realm, 3 million caddies of colossal strength _ too powerful. Terrifying. Abnormal. Almost every person present had these thoughts in their hearts. Ha 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 ha. Lu Yun laughed loudly, his eyes filled with excitement and ecstasy. In his memory, ever since he crossed dimensions, he had never been so high profile and conceited. With every step, he had to be cautious, afraid of attracting attention, afraid of being killed. But now, he no longer needed to fear or keep a low profile. At this very moment, merely with his physical body alone, he could crush most martial artists in the Golden Body Realm. In Ling Province, being in the Golden Body Realm already made one a powerful figure. In Spirit Martial Prefecture, aside from the few discreet Rune Seed Realm experts and the peak Golden Body Realm experts, no one could pose a threat to him. From this moment on, Lu Yun would truly step onto the path of the strong, no longer worrying about his lack of strength. "You're Lu Yun." A voice sounded like a sudden thunderclap. With the support of true origin, it echoed across the sky, and almost half of the mountain behind could hear the domineering voice. Lu Yun frowned slightly, turning to look at the two who arrived with strides through the air. One of them was dressed in white robes with a handsome and dynamic face, and his fighting spirit soared. The other person was dressed in plain clothes, thin and gaunt in appearance, with brilliant eyes under the brim of his straw hat. With a glance, Lu Yun took in all the surrounding circumstances, and a rough guess formed in his heart. He then focused his attention on the two who were walking on air. "Are you here to challenge me? You're very smart." Qin Wuming looked at Lu Yun and spoke faintly. "I've had my eye on the Saint Child position of the Martial Academy for a long time. Whoever gets it will have to defeat my sword first." As soon as his words fell, the long sword in his hand began to tremble wildly. A powerful sword intent erupted, stirring storm clouds in the sky. "And me." Gongliang Jin took off his straw hat, flung it aside, and it turned into a razor-sharp wheel that embedded itself in the edge of the soaring cliff. "To be honest, before this, I didn't think you were worthy of my attention, even if you possessed strength comparable to the Golden Body Realm while in the transforming Origin Realm." As he spoke, the long saber behind him burst out abruptly, spinning in the air for a moment before floating in front of him. The gleaming, sharp edge emanated an icy glow, as if it could slice through the very fabric of space at any moment. Hee. Lu Yun's eyes swept over the long saber, his expression slightly serious, and a faint smile formed on his face. So, how about now? He had always known that this day would come sooner or later. However, he hadn't expected that it would come a bit late. Both Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin gave him a powerful feeling. Notably, the moment Qin Wuming's soaring sword intent erupted, it momentarily captivated Lu Yun's heart and soul. But that was all. We don't know yet, Gongliang Jin grinned. We'll have to test each other to find out. As his words fell, he took a single step forward, and the air exploded with a thunderous roar as the power radiating from his body crushed the surrounding space, causing it to tremble slightly. Junior brother Gongliang Jin, let me go first. A flash of sword light filled the air, and Qin Wuming's long sword, enveloped in chilling sword qi, pointed right at Gongliang Jin's chest. He calmly said, "After I defeat him, I'll fight with you." His sharp gaze and bone-chilling voice carried an undeniable air of authority. Even if I agree, my saber won't." No sooner had his words fallen, when a saber intent just as powerful as the previous soaring sword intent burst forth. The two were known as the twin blade men of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. They were once evenly matched rivals. At this moment, one held a sword, its blade enveloped in white frost. One held a saber, its blade black as if soaked in ink. Both were Golden Body Realm powerhouses and Heavenly Pride experts who had comprehended sword intent and saber intent. With the surge of true origin, swords rang out while sabers roared. In the sky, sword and saber lights intertwined, each containing a unique, powerful force, clashing and tangling with one another. For a short while, there was no discernible victor. But this scene left the spectators dumbfounded. Both of you came to challenge Lu Yun, but before anything else, why did you start infighting? Even Lu Yun appeared puzzled. After a brief moment of bewilderment, Lu Yun regained his composure and chuckled. Actually, the two of you don't need to fight. You can come at me together. As soon as these words left his mouth, the surrounding area fell silent. What? Did I mishear? Saint Child actually told senior brother Qin Wuming and senior brother Gongliang Jin to come at him together? I thought I was just hallucinating, but it seems like I heard the same thing. After about 10 breaths of silence, the numerous disciples of the Martial Academy began to discuss animatedly. Even the Golden Body Realm Martial Academy elders frowned slightly. Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin were both powerful Golden Body Realm martial artists, and their sword intent and saber intent were at least at the 5th rank. Such terrifying power would be daunting even for some of the older late-stage Golden Body Realm siders. But now, Lu Yun actually told the two of them to come at him together? Was it confidence or arrogance? Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin also paused, staring at each other in disbelief, not knowing what to say. In the days when they had dominated the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, suppressing all the other disciples, Lu Yun had been nowhere to be seen. Little did they expect that now, the two of them would be so undervalued and disdained by him, that they were left laughing in irritation. I thought you would be a worthy opponent, but you turned out to be just a conceited fool. Qin Wuming snorted coldly and immediately retracted his sword intent. With a gentle hum, the long sword returned to its scabbard. Chapter 298. Late stage of Yuan Fluid Realm, 3 million caddies of colossal strength. Following that, he looked at Gongliang Jin and said, "That was my mistake earlier, I shouldn't have argued with you. Now no one is stopping you." Gongliang Jin's brows slightly furrowed, but he didn't say anything. He just nodded indifferently, and then looked down at Lu Yun with a lofty air, saying in a detached tone, "I am Gongliang Jin, please enlighten me, junior brother Lu." Gongliang Jin. Lu Yim felt somewhat familiar after briefly recalling. Gongliang Jin ranks 15th on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. However, he had left the Martial Academy 5 years ago and had been practicing alone, never making an appearance. This information quickly surfaced in Lu Yun's mind. He nodded slightly. In that case, I ask Senior Brother Gongliang to make your move. Whether one after another or both at the same time, he didn't care. He didn't call the two of them to go together just now out of arrogance. If he hadn't said so, Qin Winning and Gongliang Jin probably wouldn't have known when to stop fighting. Be careful. Gongliang Jin gripped the handle of his saber with both hands, and the peak 5th rank saber intent instantly rushed out. The surrounding wind and clouds surged, and the power of heaven and earth was completely mobilized. Facing this terrifying saber intent, if Lu Yun's spiritual power hadn't increased drastically, becoming more condensed, he probably wouldn't be able to muster any fighting strength in an instant. With a booming sound, Gongliang Jin's momentum instantly rose to its peak. True origin burst out like a flash flood, the saber light grew wildly, pressing horizontally toward Lu Yun. Lu Yun stood still, the mystery light on the purple-black star robe flickered, allowing the mountain-like pressure and sharp saber light to fall. Gongliang Jin's mind was frenziedly flashing. Lu Yun's attitude could either be arrogant or confident. If it was arrogance, killing him wouldn't matter, otherwise keeping him around would only tarnish the martial academy's reputation. If it was confidence, there should be no major issues for him to take this saber attack. Thinking of this, Gongliang Jin's heart was burden-free, and he released his peak 5th rank saber intent without reservation. The blade's edge was instantly extended to hundreds of feet, incredibly condensed and sharp. Break! Heavy and powerful, this peerless strike from breaking thousands of mountains slashed down at Lu Yun's head. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Golden light flickered in Lu Yun's eyes, then, his right hand stretched out from his sleeve, suddenly grabbed, and a roar from the golden aura origin fierce tiger burst out. The power of heaven and earth surged, forming a huge golden hand that suddenly clenched, grabbing the soaring saber light. The moment the saber light was caught, Gongliang Jin's eyes revealed a strong sense of horror. At least 90% of his strength had been used on this strike. Even weaker gold body realm martial artists in the late stages wouldn't be able to block it. But now it was caught by his opponent's single hand and couldn't continue to drop, which was shocking Lu Yun's strength. Lei Kang couldn't believe his eyes. It seems that my judgment wasn't wrong. Yi Xingqian nodded slightly, then the surrounding runes flickered and disappeared into the void. With his eyes, of course, he could see that there was no suspense in this battle. Lu Yun smiled slightly at the corner of his mouth, and then with a slight exertion of his right hand, a crisp crack sounded, and in the amazed eyes of everyone, the saber light shattered. Senior Brother Gongliang, be careful. As the words fell, Lu Yun soared into the sky, and his 70-foot-tall gold yuan high was surging inside him, causing the temperature of the surrounding space to become scorching hot. Sizzle! 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 The air was burning wildly, and golden light filled the area around Lu Yun, quickly turning into a golden sun, breaking through layers of space, and bombarding Gongliang Jin. Clang! 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 There were several crisp sounds, and the absolute oppressive realm formed by the peak 5th rank saber intent shattered, breaking the sharp saber chi. Watching the red sun break through the air, Gongliang Jin's eyes flashed with horror. However, he had been honing his skills for many years, and the number of gold body realm experts and 6th rank demon beasts he had killed were no less than 2 hands, so he had nothing to fear. Extinction cross / Gongliang Jin shouted loudly, advancing instead of retreating, slashing at the incoming sun. Slash! Slash! Slash it for me! In the sky, an intersecting cross slash appeared, the blazing and dazzling saber light splitting the sky into 4 sections, slashing toward the red sun. Boom! The red sun charged through, countless golden aura origin fierce tigers roared, tearing the sharp saber light apart, and rushed forward irresistibly. With a splash, the cross saber light shattered, and a gold light soared high. Gongliang Jin was sent flying like a broken bag thousands of feet away, his body falling rapidly from the air, and his breath becoming extremely chaotic. He slammed heavily to the ground, trembling all over, with blood oozing from the corner of his mouth. That punch just now had at least 3 million pounds of force. Gongyang Jin propped himself up with his saber, half kneeling on the ground, his face filled with shock and stupor. Chapter 299. No more twin blade men, only the Saint Child reigns supreme. What does a 3 million kilograms force denote? Keep in mind that the utmost strength of a Golden Body Realm advanced practitioner is nothing more than 2 million kilograms. 3 million kilograms is beyond what some peak Golden Body Realm powerhouses can achieve. Has Lu Yun, who just made his breakthrough, already reached the power level comparable to a Golden Body Realm peak powerhouse? Gongyang Jin couldn't believe it, but his terrible defeat, without any power in his hands, forced him to believe it. Is Gongyang Jin so weak? Qin Winning's eyes slightly narrowed as he watched Gongyang Jin being punched away. He found it puzzling. Bang! Thump! Lu Yun takes another step. The sky trembles, air under the feet ripples like water, and waves spread out like the pulsation of the earth, bringing Qin Wuming back from his contemplation. As Lu Yun's purple mystic robe fluttered, he took a dozen steps, standing high up in the open space, his eyes as cold as ice. Upon reaching the later stage of the origin fluid realm with this breakthrough, his aura origin, physical strength, and spiritual power all increased dramatically. All kinds of cultivation techniques can be utilized, whether in terms of power or mastery, all have seen a leap in quality. His punch that flew Gongyang Jin away did not surprise Lu Yun. He looked towards Qin Wuming in the distance. An invisible pressure began to spread. "It's your turn." The voice was low, but it landed clear and distinct in everyone's ears. Qin Wuming looked at Lu Yun in surprise, only to meet those deep dark cold eyes. Is it my illusion? Qin Wuming faintly saw a dominant aura on Lu Yun's body. It was nearly about to transform into a flood dragon. He had seen this kind of aura before. 3 years ago, he was traveling abroad, passing through Yu Province, and encountered a powerhouse he had never seen before. With just one sword, that person broke all of his confidence and pride. He did not know who that powerhouse was. He only knew for sure that the man was even younger than him, and when drawing the sword, a dominant aura nearly transformed into a flood dragon. Later, he accidentally found out that that was a Saint Child of the Martial Academy from Central Province, and the dominant aura was the aura of destiny. Regardless of whether it is a Saint Child of the aristocratic family or of the Martial Academy, all heavenly prides and demons who represent a powerful force outside will be blessed with the aura of destiny. Once this aura of destiny is integrated and strengthened, it will evolve into a dominant aura. Knowing this, he became more firm on becoming the Martial Academy's Saint Child. Therefore, for 3 years, he has been ceaselessly challenging one strong opponent after another to refine himself, to defeat his arch-rival in one fell swoop and become the Saint Child of Flying Spirit Martial Academy. However, he returned too late, which gave Lu Yun a chance. That's what he believed. And seeing Lu Yun's dominant aura, he was even transforming into the aura of a flood dragon. This shocked and made Qin Wuming jealous. If he was the Martial Academy's Saint Child, then he could also suddenly condense such a strong dominant aura. With the support of the dominant aura, his ability to defeat higher-level opponents would greatly enhance. He even had confidence that if he met that demon again, he could regain his confidence and pride. Thinking of this, his eyes became fiery, and a great sword intent suddenly erupted, shooting straight into the sky. Lu Yun, let's make an agreement today in front of the many brothers and elders of the Martial Academy, shall we? With the sword Qi soaring into the sky and the sword levitating in the air, Qin Wuming stared at Lu Yun fiercely and spoke calmly. Oh! Lu Yun frowned slightly. What agreement? Upon hearing this, the many elders and Martial Academy disciples also became alert. Very simple. Qin Winning's calm voice rang out, thunderous. In this battle, if you win, I will give up the position of Saint Child. Otherwise, you will willingly give up the position of Saint Child. Give up the position of Saint Child? Lu Yun glanced at him and laughed. You're not saying to give it to you, are you? Of course, the position of Saint Child should be occupied by the powerful. Heh! Lu Yun laughed immediately. You're right, the position of Saint Child should indeed be occupied by the powerful. Does that mean you agree? Qin Wuming stared intently at Lu Yun. The elders and Martial Academy disciples heard this and frowned slightly. The Martial Academy Saint Child, a position chosen by the dean and many elders, how could it be privately transferred due to a duel? Junior brother Qin, be careful with your words. A sudden thunderclap in the sky startled everyone, golden lightning flashing. Lei Kang came out from the lights, staring at Qin Wuming sternly. Senior brother Lei, don't stop me, I must get the position of Saint Child. Qin Wuming ignored him. Even Lei Kang's intervention didn't matter. Lu Yun becoming the Saint Child is the joint decision of the Master and the many elders. Dare you defy it? Moreover, you have been training for so many years, compared to how many years the Saint Child has been training. Qin Wuming's words made his face red, but giving up was out of the question. The position of Saint Child is indeed for the strong. If I lose to Lu Yun, I will admit it wholeheartedly. If I am a higher level than him, why can't I be the Saint Child? If one day Lu Yun can beat me, what's the harm in giving the position of Saint Child back to him? After speaking, he ignored Lei Kang, looked at Lu Yun, and his gaze looked sharp as a sword. Junior brother Lu, dare you accept my challenge? The elders and disciples didn't expect Qin Wuming to be so stubborn, not listening to even Lei Kang's words. They could only look at Lu Yun next and see what he would decide. With a punch that defeated Gongliang Jin, one of the twin blade men, they felt that Lu Yun's strength might be no less than Qin Wuming's. Chapter 300. No more twin blade men, only the Saint Child reigns supreme. 2 However, after not seeing each other for several years, no one knew what Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin's true strength was. Lu Yun could defeat Gongliang Jin with one punch, but it did not necessarily mean he could also defeat Qin Wuming. Under everyone's watchful eyes, a cold smile appeared at the corner of Lu Yun's mouth as he slowly spoke. Whether I accept or not is one thing, but since you provoked this Saint Child today, you must be punished. With these words, Lu Yun's right hand emerged from his purple mystic robe, and with a slight point of his index finger, a golden beam shot out from the sky like a pillar falling from the heavens, stirring up the wind and clouds, and shooting towards Qin Wuming with extreme speed. Humph, I am not Gongliang Jin. Qin Wuming snorted coldly, releasing a terrifying sword intent, slashing out with a powerful sword, intending to teach the disregarding Lu Yun a lesson. However, in the next moment, Qin Wuming's complexion changed drastically. His strongest sword barely touched the golden giant finger before it shattered. Looking again, the golden giant finger sometimes transformed into a soaring flood dragon, sometimes into a golden ferocious tiger, and sometimes into a soaring golden giant bird, changing endlessly. When it finally collided with Qin Wuming, it was like a raging torrent. With a crack, his profound sword broke, and a terrifying gash appeared on Qin Wuming's left shoulder. The overwhelming residual power instantly shattered his gold body. Qin Wuming, who had been sent flying, spat out a mouthful of golden blood. Another red sun fist descended from the sky, its dazzling golden afterglow like a giant fist from the great sun itself, ruthlessly landing on Qin Wuming's abdomen. Bang! Atop a mountain peak, billowing smoke and dust surged, as if a heavy mountain had collapsed, crushing the vast earth. When the smoke and dust cleared, half of the huge mountain had collapsed, and within it was a barely alive, bloody figure. Oh my God, he had no resistance at all. How could Saint Child be so powerful that even senior brother Qin had no power to fight back? But, senior brother Qin won't be killed by Saint Child, right? Looking at the collapsed mountain, everyone shuddered. Gongliang Jin and Qin Wuming, one unable to fight again, and the other in a bloody, indiscernible state, their life or death unknown. And Lu Yun, like a slowly rising sun, shone brilliantly, overshadowing everything. At some unknown time, an old Yuan fluid realm disciple sighed slowly. From now on, there will be no twin blade men in the martial academy, only the supremely esteemed Saint Child. With this statement, a commotion arose. But upon careful recollection of what had just transpired, it seemed indeed to be the case. Lu Yun stepped into the air, looking down with an aloof gaze from above the collapsed peak. It seems your strength is not enough to serve as a Saint Child. With dragon-like power, ferocious golden tigers coiled around his purple mystic robe, perfectly illustrating the concept of an invincible posture. Cough, cough. The severely injured Qin Wuming slowly rose from the deep pit, staring at Lu Yun with shock and fear in his eyes. After a long silence, he slowly exhaled a breath of air. Then, under everyone's gaze, he slightly clasped his fist. Qin Wuming thanked Saint Child for sparing my life. Whether it was the finger earlier or the last punch, he felt a huge crisis, as if he would be killed with one careless move. Especially in the final punch, he had been so severely injured that he had no room to fight back at all. If it weren't for Lu Yun's mercy, his fate would have been even worse than the collapsed mountain behind him. Seeing the other party's sincere attitude, Lu Yun finally nodded slightly. Then he turned his gaze to those veteran Yuan Fluid Realm disciples. Among you, if anyone still has thoughts of the Saint Child's position or wants to challenge me, please seize the opportunity now because you will have no chance in the future. After a moment, 2, even a dozen moments, no one dared to speak up. They looked at each other in silence, not even daring to meet Lu Yun's gaze. Challenge the Saint Child? What a joke! Didn't they see the 15th-ranked Gongliang Jin and the 9th-ranked Qin Wuming from the myriad phenomena Jade Wall utterly defeated without any resistance? Was Gongliang Jin very weak? Or was Qin Wuming very weak? Not weak. The strength of these two was enough to rank them among the top even among the many elders. But even so, they couldn't even use their ultimate moves in front of Lu Yun. They haven't even reached the Golden Body Realm. Going up against him would be suicide. Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin looked at the increasingly invincible Lu Yun, their gazes growing more and more complicated. It seemed that the dean and the numerous elders had not only ranked him as a disciple of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy because of his strong talent. For the first time, they felt a strong sense of frustration in their hearts. Especially Qin Wuming, who hadn't felt such a strong sense of frustration even when defeated by the peerless Heavenly Pride in Yu Province. That opponent was strong because he came from the Central Province, where the martial arts surpassed Ling Province in a martial arts holy land. Moreover, he did not need to be younger than himself, and his cultivation was not inferior. Lu Yun had been in the martial academy for just over 3 years and was only in the origin fluid realm, almost an entire realm lower than him. But in the end, he was defeated utterly. Such monstrous talent, coupled with such a perverted combat power, made him deeply fearful of Lu Yun. He had never felt this kind of fear even when facing invincible demon beasts. Lu Yun didn't know about Qin Wuming's psychological struggle at this time. He just glanced at those senior disciples, and when he saw that none of them were standing up, he finally nodded with satisfaction. "I'm very busy and I don't have time to waste with you here." Having said that, he bowed slightly to Lei Kang in the distance, and with a flash of lightning under his feet, he transformed into a purple light and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. Lu Yun left, but the shock and awe he left behind remained. After a long time, the Martial Academy disciples were still looking at each other silently, not daring to come out, and some didn't even know that Lu Yun had left. "All right, go back and practice on your own." Lei Kang's deep voice boomed, finally bringing everyone back to their senses. On the other side, after leaving the Thousand Extremes cliff, Lu Yun headed straight for the book collection pavilion. "I didn't expect that after my cultivation breakthrough to the late origin fluid realm, my strength would increase so much. It seems I've underestimated the power of a 210-meter essence C, Lu Yun thought to himself. His pure physical strength was probably not more than 1,000,000 kilograms, but under the blessing of the pure Yang's strong origin, it easily exceeded 3,000,000, which was truly terrifying. In addition, the power of the formless tribulation finger had increased significantly after his breakthrough, even able to break Qin Wuming's profound sword. Lu Yun was even curious about how powerful he would be if he were to go all out. However, compared to Gongliang Jin and the others, my martial arts conception is somewhat weaker. Thinking of this, Lu Yun decided to use his energy points to improve his slaughter conception and thunder,